Yep, it's live. So let's do the clap. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Hunters Hub, the video game podcast born of the monster community. But we're not talking about video games tonight because it's wildcard week, and this is your host Fortuan, joined by co-host Sasha. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Good.
Are you sure that, considering the nature of the episode, you don't want to change your name briefly to Four to Wine?
Fortwine. Oh, hold on. I'm not saying I'm never the bad guy in a situation, but like,
No, I mean wine, like the drink.
Oh no, I don't drink, so
Not even like at a fancy Italian restaurant. You don't get even like a glass of wine. Oh, come on, man.
The only like alcoholic beverage I have ever had is because my ex-father-in-law tricked me into drinking some because he felt I should be drinking. Like, and it was only a sip and I spit it out because it burned.
Was it tequila?
No, I don't know what it's called. They put a bunch of fruit in it, and it's a traditional Hispanic drink. It's like a bunch of floating fruit in it.
That sounds delicious.
Dude, they put it in a giant pot and people ladle it out, dude. I don't even.
Sangria?
Could be sangria. Yeah.
And sounds like they made it strong. If it burned, then they probably used tequila in it. Then
I don't know alcohol. I have no idea. I was very upset with him and everybody for trying to trick me into drinking, because that is like a no-go for me. Never. Not once. So, welcome Ace as well. We haven't said your name yet.
Yeah, we need to get you out to Lake Weekend and get a few drinks in you, man.
You mean like water? The only thing I'm ever drinking from now on for the rest of my life? We've been over this. Gets my teeth.
I mean, yeah, like some sparkling hard ciders, sure. Or some sparkling hard seltzers.
I don't think you understand my commitment to not drinking. Like, it is above most everything.
Come on, man. Being on a lake, sitting in an inner tube, buzzed.
I have no desire to be buzzed. I have no desire to have my mental faculties compromised ever. More than they have been through other extenuating circumstances. All right. But yeah, I get it. You're supposed to relax and have fun. It's the point. I don't do it that way. So tonight we're talking about our terrible dating stories because I don't know. It was a fun idea. I thought we could do it. Sasha brought it up. She wants to put a good spin to it. So essentially, each of us are going to tell a story, and the other two people are kind of trying to decide on sort of like what the unnamed person like sort of fits like a villain or a character or something in the story the best. So just to make
Who did you date?
Yeah, basically, like, did you go on a date with Bowser, or did you go on a date with, which I could see one of them being Bowser, yeah, and or something like,
What town?
Yeah, sure. So, before we get
That'll
into
be fun for the listeners.
Before we get into that, Sasha, have I talked to you about Old World yet? Okay. I do remember you were pseudo interested in Crusader Kings because of Pan.
Yeah. Yes.
Have you enjoyed the Civilization series?
I've only ever played like the kids version, Civ Rev.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, Old World is this game I got recently. I just saw it on the store, and it's a mix between Crusader Kings and Civ. So Crusader Kings is a lot more RPG-ish aspect to that kind of game, whereas Civ is a lot more grid-based, turn-taking kind of, like sheep for wood kind of game. Like, what is that called? Settlers Catan. Like, kind of like a video game version of Catan. And,
okay.
This game is really good. I have played through one full game, which is only ever 200 turns on standard mode. So like they can't go like crazy long. I mean, it takes a while, but it's like maybe 6 hours to do a full game. In a Civ game, it's like 15, 16 hours for a match. But you have to play like an old world civilization. We're talking like Europe, Asia kind of area. They may add other things, but you do the technology tree, you do the units and that kind of stuff, but there's random events and you got to worry about your lineage and that kind of stuff and political intrigue and that kind of stuff. And by far, and Ace, I haven't told you about this one. I know I talked a little bit about Old World last week. The funniest random event in a game I have ever seen. So you can assign traits to sort of like your lineage and court members and that kind of stuff through the random events. So one of them, one of the traits that one of my, I think it was my character's son had, who was the next in line for the throne, was like he was a lover of animals, and so he had an idea to increase military strength, and the event was called the Battle Chickens. So through experimentation, they discovered that owls were amazingly trained at spotting enemy forces. They had dogs for like patrol groups, all these other animals that were like sort of outside the norm to use in an army to sort of help out. They said, unfortunately, the only failed experiment was the battle chickens. And it was like this long line of text to see how things improved because of the use of the animals, but the one failed experiment was the battle chickens, and your character was deeply disappointed because they were your character's favorite or something like that. Like, it was just like, it's this usually very serious game, like out of nowhere, it's just a random event about, and it was literally called the Battle Chickens.
Interesting.
It sounds cool.
I enjoyed it. It's a brand new game though, so it was like full priced as far as I remember. Like I got it on discount because GOG discounts on the first couple days or something. But it was fun. I started off playing as Egypt actually, and it's really cool at the end because you'll see your lineage through a timeline and what happened and stuff. It's like I had in my lineage I had like somewhat like my first and you could be like it depends on who your lineage is, and you can actually have like you be male or female or whatever, and you'll have random assignments like if your character's gay, like it hits really hard to produce heirs and that kind of stuff, so you'll have to like assign an heir, like maybe a niece or something. Or so it's been kind of cool, like very in depth on that kind of stuff too. And like the only thing I haven't, like, usually in a game like this, like you would kind of think if someone was gay, they would kind of be like, oh, old world stuff, you don't want to address that, or like, nope, it's just a less chance to have heirs because you're not interested in the opposite sex, like that's it, like it's just a mechanic. And I was just like, okay, that's kind of an interesting way to treat it, like it's just a fact of life for a game like that, like that's cool. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And there's all sorts of events, and your characters have stats like how intelligent they are, or courageous they are, or disciplined they are, and that kind of stuff. And that can lead to different solutions to different events. So it's a lot more RPG in my Civilization game, which I kind of enjoyed. So I've been playing that. I've come out of my gaming rut to sort of play that lately. And unfortunately, I had to put down New Vegas.
How far did you get?
I didn't even get to New Vegas itself. Like, I'm on the outskirts.
What?
Yeah, I'm on the outskirts still trying to get in. Like, and it's not anything against the game. It's just I lost interest because of that rut. I just didn't feel like sitting there and playing until I found Old World and tried it out. I didn't delete it or anything. I'm keeping it there for when I get the gumption to go again. I was actually on a roll for a little while, and then I found Old World, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing.
It's like you basically just got through the tutorial in New Vegas.
Basically, yes. Yeah, and then I was left on my own. I was like, well, that's good. So yeah. Um, I don't know. I haven't really. I've played a little bit of Slay the Spire too. Like that's about it. Like those are the what I've been doing. So um, so we just want to just sort of like a round robin thing for this, or how to? We didn't really talk about how to do this. I have a lot. I'm sorry, but
maybe you should go first then.
I've essentially got one. So
okay. All right. So I'll start with what I'll call her Animal Crossing girl. I may have mentioned this before. So this is like right when COVID started, like right when lockdown happens, right? You remember Animal Crossing was like March 20th, 2020. Like so this girl that I'm talking to, we matched through a dating app. We had started talking on the phone a bit. You know, she was in she wasn't too far away, like an hour and a half for me. So, not terribly far. Because considering I drive my girls 2 hours home, so most people don't want to go with that distance. But obviously, there's challenges in that. Anyways, so we were talking on the phone and then messaging back and forth, obviously. And she really likes Animal Crossing, and the new Animal Crossing's coming out. And I had never really jumped in on that game or the series, but I was mildly interested before she talked about it. So I got this to play with her, and of course she wanted to play Minecraft too, which I don't really enjoy. But I ended up playing Minecraft and Animal Crossing with her quite a bit. And then I don't know, right in the middle of us talking about Animal Crossing, she starts talking a little bit more like she's like she has to go to bed for work. And I was like, hey, didn't you say you need to get off at this time? Like, and I'm not trying to be pushy, but I was like, you mentioned that. And she's like, well, I don't want to. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. You know, I'm not going to, you know, she's like, no. I want you to tell me to go to bed. And I'm like, what? Sure. Go to bed. She's like, not like that. Like, really mean it. And I'm like, go to bed. And she's like, no. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't understand this. And so I'm like, why? What do we like? I don't. If you're going to ask me to tell you, and then you say no, what's the deal here? So this turned into a long discussion about her thing is that she wants to be treated like a kid and wants to be told what to do, and she really enjoys coloring, and she wants to be told to clean things up. And it was this large discussion about how she basically wants me to be like a father figure to her.
A father or a daddy?
Well, maybe it's both, because I am aware of that, but like very much like she wants me to tell her to clean her room and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you're an adult, right? Like you are, because like I think she was only like at the time, what, I was 32, she was 30. I'm like, you're like this is what? Like I don't understand. So apparently that's a thing for her. So I'm a little weirded out by this. And I'm like, okay, sure. I guess we'll talk later. And then so she goes to bed. It's a very awkward day for me, just trying to figure that out. So we talk again. And then she wants to talk in the phone for like 4 hours. And eventually it gets to be like 4 hours. And I'm like, okay, we've been talking about essentially nothing for the past like hour. I've ran out. I'm sorry. Like I have nothing left. I'm going to go and just relax. I wasn't mean about it, but I was just like, I got to get off the phone. I'm sorry. So she gets kind of pissy about it. And I'm like, all right, fine. Talk to you tomorrow. So the kids come over for the weekend. Things seem to be going fine, other than the fact I can tell she's pretty agitated at me for getting off the phone. So I drop the kids off, at the end of the weekend. And of course, problems with the ex-wife. while I'm there sometimes, and I just wanted to sort of vent and talk to her. And so I called her up on the way home on my Bluetooth, and she was just like, "Oh, so now you want to talk to me?" And I was just like, yes." Like, I had a pretty rough day with the ex. I was just hoping to sort of vent to, someone I was dating, supposedly. Now, we haven't met in person yet because it's COVID, right? So, like, there's no meeting in person. And I was like, I guess I'll just listen to music then. She was like, "Yeah, you do that," and hangs up on me, which for me is a pet peeve. I hate being hung up on. It's like, I mean, I won't yell at people for it, but it's my number one, like, agitation. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll just listen to music. So I just listen to music. So I don't talk to her till the next day. Go out on a walk, call her on the phone. I was like, hey, look, I know that you were upset, but I was having a rough day and I really wanted to talk to you. And like, I was just, and I went to go try to talk about the thing that I wanted to talk about. And she's like, "Oh, you're trying to fucking break up with me, aren't you?" And I'm like, "First of all, I didn't really think that this was a breaking up situation yet, considering we haven't met in person. But like, and then second of all, like, I was just like, what? No, like, I was just trying to." She's like, "Go ahead, do it. Break up with me, you fucking coward." And I'm like, I wasn't going to, but sure, yes, let's do that. So I was just like, okay. Um, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I guess we'll call it quits. And then I kind of got off the phone with her. And then she messaged me like 20 minutes later while I was still on my walk. Um, like, hey, I still want to be friends, but I don't really want to do anything more than that now. And that's the last I heard from her. So, like, it just exploded. Yeah. Hold on. What's up?
Memory switch.
It's right there. They're looking for switches. Sorry. So, that's the story. Animal Crossing girl.
So, Animal Crossing girl sounds like a child masquerading as an adult. What video game characters do we know that are like that?
Or someone with an inner child that's stronger than the adult side.
I don't know of any child masquerading as adults. I do know of a volatile.
I was gonna say that the kids on top of each other wearing a trench coat and BoJack Horseman, because that is like a character that they have in the show.
I've never seen that. The only thing I could think of, like, personality wise, for me that would match is maybe Tiny Tina, because she can be so volatile.
Yeah. And I mean, she is a child in a very adult world. Okay, I can see it. She wants to play games all the time, especially like what's been going on in Wonderlands, how she's like, if you actually listen to the voiceover, she's very, very clingy with her party members and like wants them really badly to stay after the game is done. So she keeps making it go longer and longer and longer.
Yep. Yeah.
I was gonna say, otherwise, what about Arkham series Harley Quinn?
I don't remember her because I only ever played Asylum.
Oh. I don't know.
I kind of like this Tiny Tina assignment.
Fair enough.
I didn't want to come up with the ideas of what to call them myself because, like, I don't want to be involved in that part of it. But, like, I was like, that's the only thing I can think of that's like a volatile child. Like,
well, it sounds like you dated Tiny Tina at the beginning of COVID.
Yep, and we didn't even go on a in-person date. We did video chats though.
That's good because Tiny Tina is 13, so.
Yeah. No, I I definitely did not go there. She was 30. At least that's what her profile said, and that's what she said. Not as the joke. So that's the first one. That's not the worst though. That is certainly not the worst. So Ace, do you want to save yours and then we'll
Sure.
Sasha, did you have one or at least a couple before?
I have a couple.
Okay.
They're not very long or in depth or anything because my dating history is not super rich.
Fair enough.
I'm married to my high school sweetheart, but there were a couple years in undergrad that we were not together, and I was a bit of a lush, and I do have some things I regret. I'm sure that some people have some stories of me being the bad date as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. The first one I'm going to give you guys was to tell you what him and I were about the same age. He went to school with me at Eastern Michigan, and he lived in Ann Arbor, and he kind of looked like Jesus. He had like shoulder length dark brown hair, and he would tie it up in a ponytail. He like definitely a hipster.
Oh yeah, sure.
So I went out one night to Ann Arbor with him and a couple of his hipster friends, and I got craft beer explained to me.
Apostles.
Yes. So they explained craft beers to me all night as if like I didn't have a pretty significant drinking problem already, but they explained it to me anyway.
Yes, mansplaining.
Yes. So, but I mean, to be fair, we were in an Arbor Brewing Company that makes their own beer in house, and they did have some helpful suggestions. I just didn't need a whole lecture about it, you know. So we got good and toasted at the craft beer place, and then we went to this place called Fleetwood Diner, which it took forever for us to get in there because it's this tiny little diner that everybody wants to go to when the bars close.
Sure.
And I think there's like 6 tables and a line that stretches all the way out, like out the door. So it's winter in Michigan, so you know it's not pleasant.
No.
And the only saving grace that I have is that I'm not one of those girls that like dresses cute. So I was not like in a tiny little dress or anything. It's in my full winter gear. But so we had to wait like 40 minutes to even get in to sit at the table. And then this guy decides to tell me right then that he's a vegetarian and he also is a little short on funds and wanted to know if we could do like a family style kind of ordering. And I'm like, sure, man, whatever.
Okay.
That's fine. So the waitress comes around and we order hippie hash, which is like, and he says he doesn't want any of the meat in it. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, it's like potatoes and onions and peppers and mushrooms and stuff all fried together. And I'm like, I want chili cheese fries. I've been drinking all night. Like, all I want is some chili cheese fries. And he looks horrified. He's like, well, I can't have that. And I was like, bud, you don't have any money. I don't really care what you want. Like, I'm going to have the chili cheese fries. He's like, well, that's a little offensive. I'm like, then you can get back in line and wait for a fucking table because I'm getting the chili cheese fries because I'm paying for all of this. And he's like, okay, fine. So the food comes out, and before the food comes out, he asks the waitress if she could put my chili on the side, like so I could dip mine. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I want the chili on my food. I'm paying for it.
Smother
put it all
douse
together.
it and cheer.
Yeah, put it all together on one plate and give it to me. And the waitress is like looking at both back and forth at us, and I'm like, I'm gonna be paying for it, so make it the way I want. So she brings the food out, and he kind of sits there acting like offended that I'm eating meat in front of him and would not eat the hippie hash, like would not eat from the family style ordering like the plates that we put out. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, I've been drinking all night. I will eat all of this. I don't care. Yeah. So that was the last time I went out with hipster Jesus.
Wow, this one
So a bit of a child in a different way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't like that kind of like vegetarian or veganism where they like put it on you and try to make you feel bad for eating the way you do. That's not right.
Oh man. So okay, I'm while I'm talking about this, I'm going to think about how to label this person, because this is really weird for me. I don't know of any hipster villains. So but my ex-wife's like used to be best friend is full vegan, right? So they were very open and very accepting about it. Like they were like, hey, we just don't want that. Well, and we but so my ex-wife tried to adopt it and then tried to get me into it all the time. So I actually went vegan for like I think a whole year. So like, but it was terrible. I hated it the whole time. So like I was actually before the divorce process, like right before the divorce process, actually doing vegan with her. And then the divorce process started and I was like, I'm done. This is the one good thing about the divorce process right now. I'm done. I'm no longer vegan. It is not happening. Like I hate it. It's stupid. Like, oh man. So like, but like I would never think about pushing that off on someone because I was so miserable. Like I don't want to put that on someone. Like, I mean, I hate like, okay, yes, I'm overweight, but I really hate having to watch what I eat to that degree. It felt like work. Every meal felt like absolute work of like research and like this and that. And I was just like, no. And they're like, why aren't you doing it to keep the animals safe? I was like, there's me not eating is going to stop the pigs from getting killed and crushed. Like, no. Like, you'd have to have a culture-wide shift, and then you're just putting whole industries out of business. There's all sorts of economic concerns here.
Well, also I'd say that the pollution by like five conglomerates that control a lot of the world's industry will affect the animals more than you. So,
not even that. It was just like their argument is like, if everyone goes vegan, could you imagine what would have happened? I was like, yes, the whole United States economic system would collapse. Yes, I understand. Yes, if no one ate meat, McDonald's is gone, Burger King is gone, all of the fast food chains are just totally gone because like they're not good options for vegan. They are just not. They're like, like it's like vegan. What can I eat? Nah, I can't even go to Subway unless I just want lettuce and bread. Like, so.
Well, it's not bread, don't you know? Can't classify it as bread because apparently it has too much sugar in it.
Yeah, I did hear that ridiculousness at one point. Yes. Yeah.
So I guess it's just cake.
Give
Cake
me my
sandwich.
foot-long pastry.
Yeah.
Pastry sandwich.
So, the only thing I can think of, and it goes back to like the civilization stuff that I was talking about, is some of the things like the personality types in the Civ games are just like, how dare you do this in front of me? Like that kind of like.
I feel like this will fit because some other traits about him was like not getting a craft beer was an egregious violation of the social code. Like,
yeah.
He like immediately wanted to take I had like an iPod Touch at the time. He wanted to take it and jailbreak it because I didn't want him to. He's like, I don't understand why you wouldn't want access to all of these free things. And I'm like, bro, I'm connected to the internet all the time. I'm trying to not like have any attention drawn to me. Please don't jailbreak my iPod Touch. Leave it alone.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Like I don't want things like hacked into or jail. I did that out of desperation for Monster Hunter years ago to a PSP, and that's it. I don't do a lot of modding outside of like accepted modding because like classic Doom is been free open source since like 96. Like I'm okay doing that, but like I am very wary of jailbreaking anything for any reason. Like I don't want to
I
get
tried to jailbreak my iPod Touch a couple times. It never worked. I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, so I did let him jailbreak my iPod Touch, and then I just factory reset it the next day. I'm just like, all right, dude, whatever. Like, get it out of your system. Whatever you need to do to make this conversation stop.
yeah. I can't think of a high like super posh character like that that isn't in Civ right now. Like I can't think of.
Um, I think I would maybe liken him to a John Seed from Far Cry 5.
I was thinking one of those Far Cry villains, the one that's like
Oh,
very. I haven't played Far Cry 5, but is that the one with the cover with the guy that's got the like the blonde hair and the like the sport coat jacket?
Oh no, I think that's 4. Far Cry 5 is the cult out in Montana.
Okay, okay, and
Um,
the cult
so
Montana,
seems
the
like
main
that'll fit too.
Montana
the main
hipster.
guy
Okay, okay, I'm feeling
the
it.
main guy is Joseph Seed. Then he's got 2 brothers, John and Jacob Seed. And then
Very religious names.
sis,
Okay,
sister named Faith Seed.
Yes,
Um,
yes, 100%. I'm looking at this guy and like total yes, absolutely. Like even right down to this hair, like that is
oh,
hipster Jesus.
that's Joseph Seed, I believe.
Okay, well that's
John Seed is the brother who does like the marketing for the cult essentially. Like he has like their own like televangelist shtick going on, very about appearances and like sinister under the surface. So I feel like
I
that
think you
kind of
got it.
fits
I like it.
because like he's sinister, but he's not the brains of the organization. That's Joseph because like Joseph actually spoilers gets the nukes go off in the end, whereas like by that point you've already killed all the siblings. So
mm, gotcha. I already called the cult. Okay, I'll go with that one because like I don't. I want to almost say like there's got to be some like Fallout character that's just super high up on himself,
Oh,
but I'm not. I'm not because like I could see that happening in Fallout where they're just so oh you're here like kind of thing. Like I just but I see that more in movies than I see in games right now.
mhm.
see it. There's someone else on my list that is like a Fallout New Vegas character, but you haven't gotten that far, so you won't know
I
who I'm
won't.
talking
Yeah,
about.
I won't. I'm sorry. I won't. I have no idea. But there are other games and stuff I could pull from, probably. Um, okay. So I'll move on to my next one. I will say this is the longest relationship I've had post divorce. This lasted 6 weeks. Um, so yeah, it was going pretty well at first. Um,
I feel like I feel sorry to make a joke at your expense, but I feel like we should get one of those like workplace safety boards. But like, how many days since 420's relationship started, and then just like
yeah, no, I'm serious.
erase it.
I keep track of that because I get ghosted so often. I'm like, how many days since I've been ghosted? Like,
And then just every time we change it back to 0, just like have a recording of just
no. So, again, met her through a dating profile. Actually, funny thing is, she was northern Columbus, which for me, again, that's like an hour and a half drive. I'm always having to drive because it's Ohio, and people like to cluster in big cities, and I'm not in a big city. So I would drive up there, and the first date was we were supposed to go somewhere, but I figured out she doesn't drive. So what I was going to do is I was going to pick her up, and we were going to drive around her area and go out to dinner and stuff. Turns out she can't get a babysitter, so we are stuck at her house for the first date and meeting her parents for the first date. Literally the first second. Like, walk in, her mom opens the door and get to know her and her kids really really well. I liked her. She was really nice and that kind of stuff. But when I was talking to her, and I don't want to sound mean, but my brother experienced this with an ex of his. There's eventually a point where you can tell that someone isn't as intellectual as yourself. I'm not going to call her stupid, but there was definitely a gap there.
There's standard deviations.
Yes. Because I in all honesty, I do not think she's in any way stupid. Like I don't think. But there was just certain things that I would start to talk about, and then I would feel like I would have to explain it, and then I feel like I'm mansplaining at that point. So I'd be like, "Where's the line?" Like that was a constant stressor for me. Like I don't want to have to explain everything. I feel like okay. I was just like, there's eventually I was just like, I'll just stop. So dated for like I went there 6 weeks in a row. It was always a Wednesday because it was only the day that I could make work in my schedule without really moving things around, and that she could get to work. So I drove up there every Wednesday. It's actually when I started listening to the Horror Virgin podcast because I needed more podcasts for that drive. So I was like, oh yeah, new episodes up on Monday. I'll listen to it now. And actually, they it was weird because I used to listen to things on SoundCloud because that's where we post, and now they like stopped posting to SoundCloud a while ago while I was doing that. So I was like, what else do I listen to them on? Like I have no idea. Anyways, so back to her. She's a gamer, which is always a big thing for me. I'm always like, I have something we can relate on, and like we would talk a little bit about games and that kind of stuff. And she had a, I think it's a Switch. She had the new Yoshi. I don't remember what it's called, but the new Yoshi game on the Switch, and she was playing it while I was there. She's like, "Oh, you can have a turn." I was like, "No, I'm good. I'll just sit here and talk with you. Like, I don't need to play. You're good. So it's like you just enjoy yourself. Don't worry about me." So I'll talk to her while I was playing, and normally I'm not a backseat gamer. I don't like to do that. I don't like it doing to me. But this woman was terrible. It was aggravating me how terrible she was at Yoshi. And if you know Yoshi's ridiculously easy. Like really baby easy of a game. Like I'm pretty sure that my daughters are better gamers than she was. And I'm not going to judge her based on her gamer level, but it was like so bad it was kind of frustrating. Right? Like
Do you think she got a Switch and Yoshi like thinking that it would give you guys something to talk about?
no, she had it before we talked.
Okay. Okay.
Now her son liked to play it too, but maybe she picked could be that angle and I don't know. Maybe she was just trying to impress me. I don't know. But so like there was like little things like that, but there was also a point where I realized that you know how you're talking to someone and they start sending like one word responses in text, and it always kind of feels like a red flag. Now imagine that in a conversation with a person like us right here, like only one word responses whenever you talk to them.
Yep.
I mean, Ace, you obviously say more than that. Usually, right? Like that's not your only way to communicate. If I am talking to her about something, it is only ever one word responses. And I know that she isn't not paying attention. It is that she has no input. There is nothing. She just nothing. She's just like 100%. I am listening and I'm acknowledging that I'm listening, but there wasn't a next step. There wasn't an engagement in the conversation. There wasn't follow up questions. Nothing. So I would basically exhaust myself talking about something sometimes. Not like it too I'm exhausting, but I would talk about something and I would just kind of like, I'm not trying to lead the conversation on, but there would be nothing, there'd be like a dead space. And then I had to come up with something else. And then there would be a dead space. And then I'd had to come up with something because she just didn't initiate anything either. So it was just like very like, then occasionally she would talk about something and I would do like the, oh, so, like, so what, what about this? Or, like, normal conversation stuff. So eventually I was just like, okay, sure. At least I guess this is just, she's just nervous or something. I won't, I won't think too much about it. So this is the first couple weeks in us talking and, being there. So one of these times, she's talking about like future plans, like, hey, this is seems, it's been like a month of us doing this, like, is this something we want to keep doing, kind of thing, is what I was sort of conversation with her. And she immediately starts talking about how, and I made the point, like, look, long term wise, I want to stay in my area because I work with my family. So like, this is kind of where I'm at. Is that something that is doable for you in your lifespan? And she's like, absolutely, yes, I would totally move down there. There's not a problem. I'm like, cool. I would just have to leave so-and-so, her older son, with her parents. And I'm like, what? No, he can come. There's nothing wrong with the living with your she had 2 boys. And I was like, there's nothing wrong living with him. He had some challenges. I don't know what it was, but he had some challenges. Like, he was very touchy feely and that kind of stuff. I think he was on the spectrum a bit. Like, first thing I would,
maybe he needed to stay in that area to access services.
That was what she explained. Yes. And I was like, okay, I understand that he's comfortable with where you're at and that kind of thing. But I'm like, I cannot be the reason that, but she was 100% just leaving him there and her leaving. And I was just like, that's unacceptable. Like, I can't, the fact that you even brought that up really alarms me. Like, it felt like,
you don't want to be the reason that a mother just abandons her son?
Not even close. No. As a father who really cares about his kids, that is like horrifying to me. So I was just like, what? Like, I couldn't fathom it. And she was like, well, obviously he has to stay here because this, and this. I was like, okay, so to me that says this really isn't going to work out. And she's like, no, it's fine. My parent, like, I'll come up and visit him. I was like, you don't drive. Like, I would certainly, like, if that was the situation, I would certainly drive you. That's not a problem. But I don't want to be in that situation where he's not with you. Like, he's like, I think he was 7. Like, I think, like, he was young. I was like, this is not okay. This is not even close to okay. So, I went out to like 2 more dates, but like the next 2 weeks, I was just like mentally just like sort of like, I don't really see this working. Like, it went, like, I was kind of backing off, and then I video called her one day because I was just like, look, I don't think this is gonna work out between us. I am not gonna be the reason you leave your kid and that kind of stuff. And the crazy thing, and I was like, and I was still very frustrated with 1-word responses from her, at the time too. And I was like, I'm literally breaking up with her, and the only thing she can say is and yep the whole time, and it's driving me nuts. Like, I can't Like, you have no input. She just agreed with everything I said, and I was just like, what? Like, you have no rebuttals to okay. Like, and that was it. That was it. And she messaged me like around Christmas and said Merry Christmas, and I said it back, and that's the last I heard from her. So that was
Okay.
that was
I wonder if she also was maybe on the spectrum, because it sounds like she had some not fully intact social skills.
possibly. I don't know. There was definitely, it felt like like I said, there definitely felt like a gap there between our communication skills at the very least. So it was.
So I have someone in mind for this, a video game character.
Okay.
I'm thinking Meryl from Dragon Age 2.
The elf.
Yes.
Oh.
And the reason why is because she is so, like, it's almost like she's so grateful that Hawke is giving her this attention. She knows nothing about anything outside of the Dalish clan. So, and she's so like she just abandons all of that, her entire like support system, so that she can go on this crusade and with Hawke, and she relies on Hawke to learn everything that's going on with the human society because she's really bad at it.
Mm-hmm. Is it bad that this is the character I romanced in 2?
I'm not surprised.
Oh, poor Fortune.
Oh no.
Yeah. That's my pick. That's who I'm thinking.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Nothing, Ace?
Not really.
Okay.
I would maybe jokingly say like one of the lead character in Monster Hunter Stories or Stories 2 because of the whole one-word answer thing. Saying
the silent protagonist thing. Yeah. The thing I got so angry about, I put a helmet on and decided to never. Maybe I have a problem with people not talking. Oh boy.
I mean, communication is essential in a relationship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It very much is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So Ace, what's your wonderful prom story that you teased to us?
Okay. So my prom story.
And now, is this senior prom?
With failure. No, junior.
Junior. Okay.
So it begins with failure by me asking out this girl who's a grade below me, so she's a sophomore. So then I asked, as a follow-up, my one friend who, what should we call her? We'll call her Girl A.
Okay.
Very generic.
Okay, I'm gonna need to take some notes here.
So I had known her since freshman year. She was a sophomore when I was a freshman, so she was at this time a senior. I'd sort of always had a crush on her, but she did not feel that way. So I asked her out to go to prom as friends, like specifically as friends, and I was fine with that. Like, obviously, still had feelings,
but you knew she did.
Part of me that was like, yeah. And there was still that part of me that was like, maybe get the foot in the door.
Yeah. I understand the I understand the thought as once being a high school teenager as well. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So prom comes around. We all head over to my friend's place that he was staying at.
Did she say yes, or were we not there yet?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. but specifically as friends,
Mhm.
which I was like, yeah, cool, it's fine. So prom comes around. Um, most of our friend group meets up at our friend's place that he and his family were staying at, was his uncle's house, which was like basically like a mansion in the suburbs because like it had 2 stories and then it had a basement, like a fully renovated basement with like an indoor theater, um, like a bar, like 1 or 2 bedrooms, and then it had like a sub basement below that, which was like a tiny little, not actual, but somewhat quarter, eighth, some weird fraction of a basketball court.
Mhm.
So it was a pretty big house. So plenty of places for everyone to get ready for prom and stuff like that. Um, so we all get loaded up on the party bus and we head to um, the golf course that the school had rented out for the evening for all of us. Um, and we're all conversing at dinner and stuff, and then we go to dance, and then um, I'm just trying to be respectful and not like push boundaries. Um, and then one of our friends, um, she and her date, who was a friend of mine, I don't know if they had drama or whatever, or she was just having like a bad night, but like she winds up going on to like the like balcony that they have overlooking like the golf fields and stuff like that, and she's like teary and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
so I we like bring her back inside, and then like I like start like jump dancing with her to try and get her spirits back up and stuff like that. And then my date starts dancing with her date, and so I'm a little bit like off put by this, but like I'm not gonna say anything and make a scene because you know I
Just
asked her
friends.
as
Yeah.
friends. So yeah, then guy A, well, it's the friend, we can label him guy A or whatever. Um, they, I believe, if I remember correctly, I might not be. I believe she rode home sitting on his lap in the party bus. I think.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, we get back to our friend's uncle's house, and we all get back into our comfy clothes because obviously no one wants to sit around
In a
for
tux and
a whole night
dress and yeah.
in tux and dresses and stuff like that. And so we decided to watch movie movie in the movie room. Um, and so how it's laid out is there's the uh, the the movie screen, then there's one couch,
Mhm.
and then there's like a raised section of floor, and then there's 2 couches along the wall.
Mhm.
I was on the left rear couch, and then she and him sat on the right one. And pretty much as soon as the lights go off, they move to the floor in between the front couch and the back couch, like within full view of me. And I'm just sitting there like, this is fucking fantastic. I love what's happening right now. Um, and so like about 30 minutes of that goes on, and I just fucking leave, and I go to like the sub basement basketball court area, um, and eventually like one of our friends comes and finds me, and she's like asking me about it, like what's going on, and I explain the situation to her, and she's like, "Oh, that fucking sucks."
Mhm.
Um, and then they start up like another, or actually after that, I think everyone decided it was basically time to go to bed. Uh, and this friend, to try and console me, like we start fooling around, even though she has a boyfriend, and I knew it. So bad on my part, bad on her part.
Yeah. Oh man.
So wait.
Then
You start fooling around with. We're gonna call her Girl B.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And then it peters off and ends. Like, I was relatively inexperienced at the time, so I probably wouldn't have been too comfortable taking it much further.
Yeah.
And then, like, because there wasn't enough room on the couch for both of us, I laid down on the floor and let her, like, sleep on the couch. I wake up to guy A, like, bumping into my leg as he goes and starts messing around with girl B.
Okay.
And
Okay, so we're gonna assign characters to girls A and B, correct?
I mean, if we want to, I don't think
Okay.
it's necessary.
Okay. All right. So, wait, was alcohol involved in any of this?
Probably.
Not that I remember
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
I mean,
some maybe, I don't know. I was focused on myself,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and like I wasn't paying attention to what other people were doing. People might have had flasks in their purse, but I'm pretty sure they did. Like the typical, like, take a random poker chip, and then if yours is a certain color, you have to get breathalyzed at the door, because that's usually what they did for our school. I think I only got breathalyzed once or twice in my 4 years, and like
They didn't breathalyze at my school. That was not a thing. Holy cow.
Nope, not a thing at my school either.
Holy cow. Okay.
My hometown is like
you are in Wisconsin.
one of those, like,
okay, yeah, I keep forgetting that it is Wisconsin.
Not only Wisconsin, but it's one of those upper Midwest where, like,
sure. I mean,
upper middle class, where everyone wants to sort of be like a gangster and stuff, because there were a lot of people that were potheads and stuff like that, and a lot of people that underage drank. So it's just what it was.
there was certainly underage drinking at my school, but I never partook of it.
I will say, not that I saw or could tell was there alcohol involved.
Okay. Well, just really poor decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So guy A starts hooking up with girl B in the middle of the night?
Yeah, like once everyone's asleep.
Okay.
That's insane, man. I am sorry that you were involved.
So, like,
wow.
Not only did I get it from, like, the right side, but I got it from, like, the left side, like, directly in front of me.
Yeah, because, like, in a movie, right? Like just you could make this like a movie, right? Like, your situation is how you found your wife, like the girl B. Like, that's what the movie does. But, like, real life was like, no, both of them. Same guy.
Yeah, because, like,
cow.
The first one was, like, same row, just, like, 2 seats down, 2 or 3 seats down.
Yeah.
Like, on the floor. And then, like, later it was, like, the seat next to me.
Oh,
you
yeah.
might as well have knocked me out of my seat and, like, pushed her down on top of it. Or, like, the those reclining seats that they have.
Okay. Was guy A already, was he the one who originated with girl B?
No, he wasn't the boyfriend.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So girl B is
twice.
Just living her best life, I guess. Okay.
She is who she is. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna shame her for it, but okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna say shame her, but I'm like, it's pretty rough on whoever Girl B's boyfriend is if they're not like in an open thing. Like that's pretty
Yeah, which is
bad.
why I say my bad. Like I knew I shouldn't have done it, but also high school and hormones and jealousy and being like fuck everything right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
toxic high school behavior.
You had a more fun high
Um,
school than I did. I was with my ex-wife the whole time. And we did not do stuff like this. Like this did not happen.
I mean, there were allegations that one of the popular couples uh were getting it on at their table, like
Yeah, there
slipped
was.
under the dress and type
Yeah,
stuff going on.
yeah.
I'm like,
There was such an
no.
allegation. There was such an allegation at my junior prom as well. I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, that is maybe it was homecoming. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so we got to do guy A, girl A, and girl B. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Um,
In this case, I would say the proper villain would be guy A,
sure.
because as I learned after the fact, he and girl A had tried to go all the way, but it didn't work out. So then he went for seconds with girl B.
Okay.
I don't know if
Okay,
it happened
so
with girl B, but it certainly was uncomfortable.
okay.
You were a twice casualty of love and war. Wow.
Hmm.
So, okay, so my thoughts, girl B, the only thing that comes up in my mind is someone who's just totally free and open about their entire sexuality all the time. And that to me says Bayonetta. Like
I was thinking Bayonetta as well.
that
Perhaps.
she don't give a fuck. I mean, she's a nice girl, right? Right. Like Bayonetta has a good heart, but she don't. No one's gonna keep her down. She's gonna do what she's gonna do, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
she was there to console you, but also got some fringe benefits off of it, and then got some fringe benefits off of guy A, I guess. Ah, jeez. um.
Prom.
Okay.
Okay.
So Bayonetta is girl B. Girl A.
I'm thinking for the guy
Mm-hmm.
that's Zevran in Dragon Age Origins, because he does not care if you sleep with him and then also sleep with another party member. He's he will sleep with other party members if you don't choose him, or if you abandon him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's also a switch hitter, but
Mm.
yeah, I'm thinking him for your guy.
Yeah. I don't know what his alignments are, but like, needless to say, I did not see him as a friend after this.
No,
No.
I can't imagine. So
Dude, my high school, like before I was dating my wife, my high school days were like, so I had this girl that her and I were interested in each other. We both knew this, and she still dated 3 different of my friends. And like I was like,
Yeah.
I asked her like way later, like we're still friends now later on. Like I don't talk to her too much, but like cuz honestly, I'm not going to name her, right? Because she's a friend. She was given a rough deal, because her the guy she ended up with, basically cheated on her and left her stranded in Hawaii. Essentially, he was a military, and she was with him on the
Mm.
base and just sort of like kicked her out in Hawaii. So like around nobody. So Um,
I feel what was she married to him?
yeah, yeah.
I feel like he would get in some serious shit for that.
I have no
Pretty
idea.
sure.
All I have to go off on is what she said. Like I don't never even I may have met the guy once back in high school, and I don't know. At that point I was already way overdone talking to her. Like we kind of fell out because of the situation where um like I said, we knew we were into each other. I tried to pursue it and she said no. And the first time because I had found out she was secretly dating one of my friends. Like, and I was like, what the hell? like what? Like why uh I like did I not move like did I not move fast? Like I didn't know, but like this and I tried to ask her out one other time where I knew she was single, and she said, I don't know, I'm not ready. And it's like, you know what? And I told myself before I asked her out, I was like, I'm done. You know, this is it. This is make or break for me. If she says no, we're done. I'm fine. I'm moving on. And I did. And then I met my now ex-wife, but uh years like a year or two later, I'm graduated, she's a senior. We talk on Facebook, and she's like, you know, I really liked you like the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, we actually had a conversation about that. Why are you bringing this up now? Like, and she was like, well, and I was like, you know, I'm with someone, right? Like, this isn't happening. So she tried to make a move on me years later. And I was like, nope, nope, sorry. And then, you know, she ended up with this guy. But now she's just the whole episode that she went through with this Hawaii thing. She came back home, and then she had a couple other very terrible experiences, including a guy that sort of stalked her afterwards
Mm.
after dating him. Um, she's just broken, is the way I can describe it. Like, there's no, like, she is so traumatized by what happened to her. Like, dating is not even like within earshot to her. So in general, and not that I'm trying to,
I
I'm not.
wouldn't blame her.
No, I'm not. Not that I would try to myself, anyways. We are not compatible. You know, as you get older, you learn, you know, what you like and what you don't like, and it's definitely not her. But yeah, it was high school was weird.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Oh gosh. Yeah, the guy I know you were saying, but I don't know who that is because I never got that far in Dragon Age um Origins.
I think that Zevran also used to be a sex slave from what he
Oh,
says. Like he escaped from it.
okay.
So
All right.
he's quite liberal and free with it.
I don't remember. I don't remember exactly where this comes from, but there is a character in one of the Final Fantasies, and I want to say it's 10, and I don't remember if it's true. But one of them is like the two people are interested in each other, and the guy's like, "Hey, like, if you don't make a move, I'm gonna make a move." And then you make a move, and then he immediately makes a move on someone else. Like, I can't remember where this came from, but it was a game. Like, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
say it's almost Final Fantasy X, but like I don't remember there being much of a thing outside of just Tidus and whatever her name is in 10. So I don't know. There was some game that's kind of who I was thinking of, but I don't remember him. I don't remember the game even. So this feels pretty moot. The girl A, that's girl A. That is, I'm trying to think of something for girl A because like uh a lot of this relationship stuff is hitting my movie brain more than the video game brain or that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff because yeah, like you don't
I mean, we
deal
can
with
open it up to that if you want to.
because a lot of
Yeah.
the video game stuff doesn't really, outside of stuff like Mass Effect, Dragon Age, you know, like they don't really match up a lot with relationship situations, so it's kind of hard to compare.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I could say Guy is just Bowser. He just does what he wants.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, you could
He's
just
greedy,
say
takes what he wants.
Bowser. And like the situation possibly that, not saying that it's a good comparison, but like the situation, like if you remember the Mario movie, um where Luigi was in love with the princess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like imagine if like the Mario situation where you're Luigi and she's Princess Peach and she's totally not interested in you.
I mean, have you listened to Luigi's Ballad by Starbomb?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yo, what up, bitch? You got a what up, bitch? What's inside this question block? It's my dick.
Yeah. Mario versus which Dan Avidan playing Luigi and Aaron playing Hanson playing Mario. And at the end she's like, I picked Toad. And they're like, what? I mean, like, and she's like, he's basically a giant dick. And they're like, ah.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I'm like, wow. Wow, what a crude song. Funny, but so yeah, that's where my brain was going video game wise. But like there's something to the energy of like we went as friends and then she's like hooking up with the other guy and she's like, what did you expect? Like that kind of energy. Like we're here as friends. And I'm just like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, and like we had a little discussion about it, I think, over text. And like
good.
I was just mad.
Yeah.
I was just mad all around. And then like cuz like I didn't bring up that I had fooled around with another girl who'd been in a relationship. And I'm assuming that she found out because I think either that week after or the next week after, she was in choir and I had study hall, which was in the band room, so in the same hallway. And she's like at the end, and as I walk in, she like shouts down, "Don't ever talk to me again." And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
I just like ignore her and just walk into the study hall. I'm like, I mean, pretty much everyone hurt me that night, and I understand that I also hurt people. I would say the whole thing is a clusterfuck, and I'm just bad about it.
That's fair. So, I mean, that's fair. That's.
And me now, I'm just like, I should have just not gone. Like I originally didn't want to go, but a couple of my friends talked me into it, and I'm like, why do I listen to my friends?
Oh, dude. So, was it junior prom and senior? Might have just been junior. So my ex-girlfriend just before my ex-wife, is actually one of my friends' wives now. And they were together before me and her were, but they had broken up. She was like, everything's done. I was like, cool. And I confirmed it with him. Cool. We good? Cool. I'm going to ask her out. So I asked her out. We date for a little while. I'm not feeling it. We break up. Yada yada. But my excuse, I told her I don't want a long distance relationship because she was moving.
Mm-hmm.
The next girl I date is my ex-wife, who was 45 minutes away in a whole different school district. But I got to see her on the weekends. I didn't get to see the other girl because her parents were that strict. No seeing anyone. Like, couldn't even go to her house and see her, which is what I did with my ex-wife. We just hung out at her parents' place and watched TV. It was a date. Like, what are you going to do in high school with parents there? Like, so at the proms, both of them, she's giving me the super evil eye while dancing with his friend. She worked at Arby's, which was across the street from where I worked in Long John Silver's. I, on break, occasionally would go into Arby's because her and her two friends worked there. Now I was friends with her friends too, so I'd go in there and I'd order a sandwich and talk to one of them. And she worked in the kitchen in the back, and she starts throwing pans and stuff at me from the kitchen one day. And I'm like, we've been broken up for like 2 years. Like, I don't, what is going on? Like, and then like,
I was trying to come up with a pun off of those two, and I hate myself for what I came up with. Long John Silver's across the street from an Arby's, huh?
mm-hmm.
Were you trying to get your shrimp into her roast beef?
Oh yeah, no.
My brain.
That's funny. Then years later, we're talking. I'm married. Like I graduated in 06. We're talking. This is 2010, 2011. I'm in my apartment. I get a message from her on Facebook being like, "Look, I want to forgive you. but I'm mad at you, and I've been mad at you for years." And I'm like, "Yes, I know you've been mad at me for years. For what? Like, I don't know what. My only evidence is a guess as to why I broke up with you and then dating someone really far away. Like I didn't say that, but like that was my only guess. To this day, she still doesn't like me. Because I still see that friend every once in a while. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. You moved on. You are with someone else, married to someone else. Why am I a factor still?
Mm-hmm.
So that girl really hates me still.
Oh yeah. Weird. The other day,
Mm-hmm.
I happened upon Girl A's a new like Instagram account. I think that she had made.
Oh, okay.
And she also got into rock climbing. Like when I was in college, I got into rock climbing because we had a climbing wall.
Yeah.
And
I
she
can't
did
do
too, and
that.
I'm like, that's a weird coincidence.
Sure.
I don't like that. Don't like the things I like. I don't like you.
Yeah. No, it's rock climbing isn't super big, I don't think. My ex was into it and she tried to make me do it, and that's where I learned my fear of heights. Really, really quickly. I got about 15 feet, maybe 10 feet off the ground, and I was done. I was like, nope. I'm like, I'm belayed, right? They're like, yep. I jumped off. I was like, nope, done, off. They're like, you can't go any further, and I was like, No, it got so.
I can just see you like T-pose.
It kind of felt like that, yeah, because it's so bad. I can look at someone on a high thing and I will get symptoms. Like, I can't explain. There's like, the only way I can explain it is a phobia. Like,
I have the same.
Okay.
It's like my cerebellum feels insecure. I don't know.
All right.
I felt like that even doing the towers in Far Cry, like climbing up.
All
things.
right. Both of y'all are coming to GB.
No.
I need to get in shape, and we're gonna go to UWGB, and we're gonna hit up the climbing wall.
No, dude, you don't understand.
Wow.
My hands.
We're gonna start off small.
And
no, we can start off small with some bouldering.
Like I physically am in pain when I experience this. Like I can't do it. I can't do it. Like if there's something, like I can be really high up on something if I'm on stable ground, like I have something to hold on to, and I am like standing on something, and I'm even over an edge or something like that. Doesn't bother me. The moment I have any sort of precarious footing or hand position, I'm done. Like I'm just like, nope.
That's why I said we'll start off small. We'll start with bouldering, where you just go around the climbing wall, because it's a climbing wall that's like a pillar essentially. So we'll start off small. We'll do some bouldering, where you just climb around the wall in a circle.
Oh,
We'll get you up to speed, and then we'll start you off on one, which is the easiest wall, and I'll climb up
so
side 2 or 3 right next to you.
So your pitch is that I drive to Wisconsin for like 15 hours so that I can.
Oh, you and Sasha.
If I'm going to Wisconsin, I'm just going there to eat cheese curds. Like I'm not.
We can
I'm
get
not
cheese
going
curds
there to do it any type of physical
Just
activity.
just one climb, and I'll
I
buy
can't.
you.
I can't
buy
even
you
do the cheese curds. The cheese curds are off the table for me. I don't even like cheese curds. I'd love to hang out. But like the climbing thing, no, man.
Here's
no.
what I'll do: is I will just eat cheese curds and watch you climb, Ace. That's what I'll do.
And I will just sit there and hang out with Sasha, and we'll talk while you climb, and then you come back and be like, "I did it," and we're like, "Good for you." Let me calm down from that experience of seeing you do that.
Oh, I'm out of shape now, so who knows how I'd do. But like
Oh,
in my prime in college,
yeah, my prime was
got to such
junior year of
muscle
high
memory.
school. Yeah.
I got to such muscle memory on some of the walls that I started doing them blindfolded.
Okay. I don't understand this desire to do that. Oof.
Just an extra challenge. Oh, and then there's a video on my Facebook that I'm sure you could search up. I also invented / started the T-Rex climb.
Okay.
So what it is you get towels on each of your arms and elbow areas, and then you get a strap across them. So your range of motion with your arms is essentially this. And then you climb.
What? Nah. I'm sorry. No. That's rough for me. Oh man. Okay. All right. So did we end up labeling girl A after all of that?
No, I don't. I don't know. I don't have one for girl A.
The only thing
I mean, we don't have to either. Unless if there's something movie or TV show wise that you think fits. Because I said if you want to open it up to that, we can.
the thing is, I'm very terrible at remembering actors, characters, anything that does with a name. So like the attitude that I get from that, right? If we exaggerate it, is I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want, right? Like, what did you expect? I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. So that's sort of like the energy I get if we exaggerate girl A.
I mean, I think in our texts, she said that she had liked him and saw an opportunity and took it. So
Okay,
I guess that falls in line with that.
sure. High school mess, just a high school mess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Sasha, would you like to go? Because I have a few more still.
Sure. Okay, so the next one is a guy that my mom wanted to try to set me up with. So
Oh, boy.
No.
Okay.
yeah.
Parent setups never
Yeah.
For the record, my mom set me up with my ex-wife, so that did
like
work.
I said,
Ish.
they never go
Ish.
well.
No, that went well.
Yeah.
That went well. It did not go well in the long run, I would say. But anyways,
I would have been I think in my mid 20s. I probably was like 25 when this happened. And my mom worked for Dell at the time, and there was a guy that like definitely came from money. His parents paid for his college degrees, and he had a management position at Dell, and he is 30, or he's getting ready to turn 30.
Mom.
Yeah,
is this what I think it is, Mom?
Yeah, so my mom's like,
he's so
you
successful.
should meet him. He's successful. He's great. Like, you're just, I have no idea why he's single. He plays hockey. He's got a house. He's got a good job, got a good car, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. So I started texting this guy, and we agree to meet at a bar, and he pulls up in like a minivan, and I'll say it was a nice minivan. It was like a Chrysler. It was like beautiful minivan, but I'm like, bro, is that your mom's car? Like, it was not. That's what he chose for himself. So that
So
kind of give
it's
you
a
an idea of,
very function over form guy. Okay.
yes, yes. And he gets out of his car, and granted, I think we did meet after he had gotten off work, so he was dressed very much like a corporate kind of like dude. He had like khakis on, he had a
Button
button up
up.
shirt tucked in to meet me at like a dive bar. So like whatever. He As I get to talking to him, he's really smart, he's nice, but I'm kind of getting vibes that maybe like him and I might play for the same team, but he doesn't know it. But
Oh. Sure.
and again, no, like, there's no shame in that, but
That doesn't make for a good partner for you. Yeah.
no, it doesn't, because like my kind of taste is like, are you going
partner?
right? Yeah,
like
not that kind
like
of
a
partner.
wingman type partner.
Yeah, I'm more like I want to feel confident that I am your brand. So,
Mm-hmm.
but he was nice, and I was having a fine time. Whatever. So we ended that date. He asked if I would be interested in meeting again, and I said sure. So I worked in bars at the time, because I was still an undergrad, and so I wouldn't have been 25. This would have been before 25, because I was still an undergrad, and he had texted me on a Friday night. And he's like, "Hey, it's my 30th birthday, and my friends and I were going to a nightclub. Like, do you want to meet us?" Well, I would have appreciated some notice of that, because I can't just like not go to work.
Yeah.
Service industry, like, yeah. So I'm like, I can meet you there afterwards. Just send me the address. He's like, sure. So I worked all night, and I did end up getting out a little bit earlier. So I got out at like, I don't know, maybe like 11. And I go to the address, and I get there, and it's at a nightclub called Staying Alive. It's a 70s like disco club.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm wearing like my work clothes, like, and I go inside, and like, people are really dressed like they're at boogie nights, and he's dressed like he's at boogie nights, and his friends are dressed like they're at boogie nights, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bar. I don't want to do this, and I don't really like to dance. That's like not my thing anyway. I feel stupid trying, like, and I definitely didn't want to dance after I just worked all night.
Sure.
So I will say that in this story, I was also a bad date, because I was not interested in doing any of the things he wanted to do for his
You
30th birthday
you were outside
bash.
of your comfort zone already. I get it. Yeah.
I was big outside of my comfort zone. But then I'm like watching this man dance, and I'm like, I really don't ever want to see you again. I've never been so turned off watching somebody dance. And then I just stayed at the bar. I drank, whatever. So
are you talking like he's doing like full like or like what?
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like just dancing with whoever was near him, men or women. Like, I'm in the 70s vibe. So I'm like, whatever, man. Like, live your best life. I'm glad you're having a good time. I don't want to be here though. So I just drank at the bar, and then we all met at his house. Which, when I was first time going to his house, learned that it was, yeah, great. You have a house in Royal Oak, Michigan, with 3 other dudes, like a frat style, like, housing situation, even though you're 30 years old and none of you are in college. Like,
trap house.
Yeah. And it was in a really nice neighborhood. Like, they had a really nice house. I'm like, your neighbors probably hate you guys so much. And they want to just keep dancing all night, and I'm like, I think I want to go home. I don't really want to do this. So then they turn on the safety dance. One of his buddies plays the safety dance, and they try to like peer pressure me into dancing, and like, but
Are you the only girl there too?
There were a couple of other girls, but like, they were like and then that was the other part too, was like I'm like looking like a total slob because I had just worked in a restaurant and a bar
Yeah.
through all of dinner service, and then these girls are wearing like little mini dresses and stuff, and they had just like been to the like to go to the club, and that's what they wanted to do anyway. That's the type of girls that they are, and I am not that type of girl.
Sure, yeah.
So I did not have a good time. I drank myself into oblivion and passed out, and then I woke up at like 5 in the morning and snuck out and drove home.
Yeah, that's super awkward. Holy cow.
And then he had asked my mom if I was offended, like over the whole thing, like his friends trying to peer pressure me into dancing and stuff. And my mom's like, no, I'm pretty sure she just was offended by your dancing. Like, that's it. Like, just the choice of venue. Like, it was quite clear you guys don't have anything in common. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He is, I mean, I've been sort of in touch with him. Like, it's a very cordial, like, happy birthday on Facebook, that type of thing. Like,
yeah.
He's still not in it. He's never been in any like long-term relationship with anybody. So I'm still pretty convinced that he's not fully come to terms with his sexuality, which is, you know, like no
it's not
shame or disrespect, but
it's never an easy thing. Like I had a roommate that was a good friend of the ex-wife's and I's. Well, more good friend than I figured out. The ex-wife kind of treated him poorly. I figured out later on when I wasn't there. He was not out of the closet, but he had suspicions about himself, and he actually got married to a woman and found out during his marriage that he was just not into that. And he's a good friend of mine, you know, had been a good friend of mine, and sort of like him moving out, because like he lived with us right when we first got married, and he kind of didn't expect, there was a lot of things of like living with a new couple, and b the fact that we were still trying to get to know each other because we'd never lived together. Like we waited till marriage to even live together. So like there was challenges that her and I had to work out, and he was there and he wasn't enjoying that. And then he ended up not having essentially enough money. Some job opportunities for him sort of fell through while he was there, so he couldn't actually afford to pay his share. Still to this day, I'm pretty sure the ex still expects him to pay whatever $80 in 2009. Like,
Yeesh.
I have talked to him. He's actually come to the house here because, like the situation, I actually met him through my mom as well, because my mom was an art teacher and they were in the art club. So I actually, you know, I'm still friends with him and talk to him on Facebook and stuff lately. But like, yeah, it was a long road for him to realize, you know, what was going on with him. And he had never been in a long relationship and that kind of stuff too. It's just, he just wasn't interested, and he didn't really know why until, well, his now ex-wife came along, and they hit it off great, but I think they were friends more than anything. And she wanted more than that, so I think he acquiesced to it, and then, you know, things fell apart eventually when he really realized what was going on. So yeah. I get that. So Boogie Nights guy. All right.
Yeah.
Boogie Nights guy.
Minivan guy is in my head, like minivan.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why I agreed to a second date, and then I should not have been shocked that it was going to be something worse.
Immediately pops in my head, Lewis, Left 4 Dead.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
all right, I can see it.
Just the super office guy. He's kind of effeminate in the games. Not, you know, not your manly man. You can tell he likes to have a good time, right? Like, I'm talking about like when you take the pain pills, he's like popping pills, like just doing little dancey, singy stuff that he does, like, and the way he just freaks out at times. Like I can Lewis from
Okay,
Left 4 Dead.
I can
That
see
is
it for sure.
that is my vote. That took me a second, but I'm pretty proud of that one.
I think that's a good one because I think as well with Francis and Bill being there, it does soften Lewis's masculinity quite a bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, especially with Bill.
Yep.
Bill was the guy. I always played Lewis though because I was an office worker as well, so I felt that energy. But any thoughts on that one, Ace?
Uh, Not really.
Okay,
I can't say that I've experienced too many closeted people in
sure.
I mean, we
my
don't
gaming.
know if he's closeted. I'm just
And
strongly
and
suspicious of it.
and I'm not basing anything of Lewis on anything about gay. I don't think Lewis is even remotely gay. I don't know honestly, but I don't get that impression from him in the games.
I mean, apparently I could just go and say John Travolta in Boogie Nights.
Yeah, maybe. That's his spirit
See,
animal is Boogie Nights.
because the story completely flipped for me because when you said that he pulled up in a van, I was just like, oh, watch the plot twist of like he's got big like subwoofers in the back and like treble boosters on the sides, and that'll be a plot twist. Nope.
I don't know. I never made it to a date where he drove me anywhere. So
Didn't care to ask about the van.
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, well, here is what I consider the doozy. This is the worst. So there are things leading up to this first date that happen. So match with this girl. She's a lot younger than me. I want to say, um, I want to say this happens 2021 maybe. Maybe no. Maybe it's no. I think this is still 2020. So match with this girl. Things with the COVID like restrictions are calming down at this point. Not now, we still have mask mandates and that kind of stuff. Figure out she works at one of our clients. I'm like, okay, cool. So we have some chatting about that. She's on the mechanics squad. She works late nights, and I actually work with that team quite a bit, but she works night shift and I work with the day shift guys. She doesn't even know the people I work with, but literally they occupy the same offices just on different shifts.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually kind of cool to sort of like hear about that because I'm pretty good friends with one of those guys there. We played PlayStation and stuff together, every once in a while and hung out. And anyway, so we're talking and she's like, I really want someone to come over and cuddle. And this is like 3 a.m. And I'm like, cuddle.
That's
That
a
is,
bars are closed time of night.
yeah. I'm like, So eventually I was just like, if you're serious, I'll go over there. Near, not too far. It's like a half-hour drive for me, right? Because everything's a half-hour drive for me out in the woods. It's not a problem. So I go over there. We chat some. We get to fooling around. Things happen. Didn't expect to go that way, but whatever. Not my usual style too. I'm very much more of like get to know somebody first before I get anything like that. So afterwards, she just was like, "Well, I admit I was just trying to get you over there to get over here to do this," and I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Well, see, I like to get it out of the way so there's no tension and that kind of thing," and I'm like, Oh, okay.
Neat.
Um, Out of curiosity, how many times has this happened? And she was just like, oh gosh, I don't know. You're probably like in the 60s. And I was like, oh, I should probably mention that you are number 2. um, yeah, I know we've been 3. I think it's at 3. And I was like, okay, so all right. So we talk about other things. I stay there. Literally, this happened like a Thursday night, so like it's Friday morning time. And technically, I still have to work, possibly. So I drive back home. I pull in the driveway at 6 a.m. I go to bed. Hopefully, we don't have something special for work where I have to be up because I don't know. They didn't tell me. Thankfully, there's nothing to do for work, and I ended up doing more work in the afternoon to get some hours, and that's about it. Our first date is still scheduled for Sunday. Um, so this like happens pre first date. I go on the first date. We go to a local place, a pizza place, and we talk, and that comes up a little bit, but we don't talk about that too much. But just general things like normal date stuff, get to know each other, that kind of thing. And did we lose Sasha? She's frozen on my screen. Did we lose everybody? Oh no. Did we lose me? Uh-oh. Guys are both frozen on my screen. Well, this is awkward. Did I? Uh-oh. Hmm. I haven't had a. Okay.
Oh, wait.
There we go.
Okay.
I'm back.
So where we lost you
Uh-huh.
was your first date was planned for the Sunday, and you guys went to the pizza place and you started talking. And
Okay, so we mentioned a little bit about what happened. Sorry, I was like, and Ace, like as I was talking, I was like, and Sasha's frozen, and Ace is too. Uh-oh, there's a. This is awkward.
you were frozen and Ace was moving. I was like, oh, good, it's not my fault. Okay.
No, it was me. I figured out it was me pretty quickly, but I was like, everything seems to be running fine. Like, what's going on? Like, I don't want. Anyways, the stream never dropped. Like the stream kept going, so it's just like you guys frozen and me being like, "What the hell happened?" Anyways,
well, we got a nice snake bit in there too. So
okay, so that'll be some editing we have to handle, but that's fine because
No, leave it in. No
Okay.
edits.
I'll do it live.
So we talk a little bit about what happens, but mostly it's just like kind of first date kind of stuff. Like, what do you want to do with your kind of life? Kind of yada yada. And I was like, yeah, like I kind of felt weird just hanging out in the restaurant after we already ate. I was just like, so let's just go hang out in your car or something. We'll talk. And then we're hanging out in the car, and the same conversation continues, like music and that kind of stuff. And we don't really have the same taste in music per se at all. A lot of metal stuff. I run into that a lot. A lot of the girls that I date are like, I really like metal, and I'm like, I really don't. Like, like I don't know why this keeps happening, but like, I just don't. So we're talking, and then she's immediately like, just sort of flips gears, and we start talking about the sex stuff again, and I'm like, okay, all right. She's like, that was all fine and all, but I need you to know that I need to be hurt. And I'm like, what? What do you like? I want you like, I like bondage and I like this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, sure, that's not what happened, but like, what? Okay. And And she's just like, well, like I've got all this like pain inside, and like once someone hurts me enough that I can sort of like cry it out, I can really get going. And I'm like, and I think I
Oh,
literally
this
made that face. Like I was just like,
this is not first date stuff.
no, 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 no. And I was just like, and my brain had just like, that's a never. I
I
can't.
can understand like on the first date, I guess, if you're like comfortable and liberal enough with your sexuality to bring up that like you're into bondage and you're into S&M, but then to like also get into the stuff you should be talking to a therapist about is not first date stuff.
Yeah. So like, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, this is not something I can handle. And I'm like, so like, does it have to happen all the time? Like, I don't like, I was just like, cause I'm not sure I can do that. I was like straight up honest with her. I was like, I don't like hurting people. I don't like, she's like, no. It makes me feel good. And like, I like it. And I was like, I don't, I can't, I don't like it. Like I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to hurt someone. Like this is not me. Like I can't.
Yeah, you're very much like Dan.
Yeah, the slapping
have you
story.
ever heard
Yes,
that story?
where he's like, yeah, where he's trying to slap. She's like, slap me harder, and he's like, no, and he like really hits her like that one time, and he starts crying. Something like that.
No. He like gives her. If I remember the story correctly, he like gives her like a light like tap, and she's like, "Oh, fine, I'll do it myself," and just like wails on herself.
Yes, yeah, I do remember. Yeah. No. And she was like, and I really like into this. I was like, okay, well, I need to get back. The kids are probably wondering where I am. So, it was a great time, which up until that point, it was a fairly awesome date. And I was thinking about, going out again. So then, we're talking again. Like we didn't really stop talking quite yet. But this is the last time I saw her on a date in person. So the and let me phrase that let me rephrase that, because we didn't have any other like steamy nights or anything like that afterwards. Literally, I still see her when I go to this customer sometimes, so it gets awkward. But so I'm there, like I think it's like the Tuesday after, so 2 days after, I make this joke, and I don't know what possessed me, because I knew this was dangerous territory. But I make this joke, and this to me is just an utterly gross idea. Someone said something about eating ass or something like that, and I was just like, at least it's not as bad as that. And she's like, I've always wanted to try that, and I was like, this so I took like 10 minutes to respond because I didn't know what to say, because I was just like, so I was just like, I was like,
all levels of unprepared.
right, I was just like, so do you mean like doing that or that happening to you? Because I am neither. Was like my eventual response. And we talked about it a little bit, and I was just like, I'm so not into this. Like, this is going so far out of my comfort zone. So we talk a little bit more, but then there's like, I have the girls over again the next weekend, and on Saturday, I was like, hey, the girls are over. I just kind of like backed off a little bit. It's like, hey, the girls are over. They're kind of, really, we're doing some stuff today. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And then I go to talk to her after dropping off the girls, and we're Facebook friends at that point too. And I literally see something popped up that she's engaged to someone as I go to talk to her. And I was literally like, don't have to deal with that. So I just didn't talk to her. But every once in a while, we go on a breakdown to this place that we work at, and she's standing there beside me, and I'm standing here like this, like, nope, not saying a word. No, I'm not doing. I think I'll say hi or something, but nope. And apparently, she's very happy with this guy that she met in the one day I backed off. Apparently, or maybe didn't. Maybe already knew him, and
Good for her.
yeah,
Sometimes situations resolve themselves.
So I would say that was my most uncomfortable one, for sure.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah, Red's telling that story.
Okay, I was gonna say, I feel like the bigger problem is that she just didn't like read the room very well.
Yeah, I don't think she's a.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything villainous about her. Just
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's kind of just one of those situations where she was looking for any flavor but vanilla.
If I'm vanilla, that I'm fine with being called vanilla. If I don't have to do that, like
there's nothing wrong with being vanilla. It's just that's what flavor you were offering, and she was not looking for that.
That can be a lot of exposition for someone who is vanilla.
Yeah.
To just come out right away.
And then to have that conversation in public.
It was in her car. It was in her car. So we moved out to her car.
The pizza place.
No, the only conversation to get close to that is she's like, "Well, I had a good time." Friday morning. I was like, "Oh, cool, me too." I mean, she's tried to breach the subject in the pizza place, and I was just like, so what's it like working? Blah blah blah. Like, So yeah, it was not in public.
What's it like doing the things?
Yeah, that was.
Let's see. We are looking for somebody who maybe has some difficulty with regulating their own emotions and knows exactly what they're looking for. I don't know why, but like I can't stop thinking about the big lady in the Resident Evil reboot.
Lady Demasio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dimitrescu.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I'm kind of thinking.
She was taller than me. There was that. It's like she actually was taller than me.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I'm not the tallest person. I mean, I'm literally the shortest person in my generation of the family. So I don't think I'm terribly small. I'm 5'8". So like I'm not like obviously not 6 foot whatever, but most of the people in my family are, including the women. So I'm taller than my grandmothers and my mom. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like my cousin in high school was taller than me in my upper 20s. Like my female cousin in high school was taller than me in my upper 20s. I have a tall family. So Lady Demascu, I don't know her.
Lady D.
Lady D. There you go. Okay.
For Dominatrix.
Essentially, yes. Let me see. So, Ace, you said you're out. I still have more. Like, Sasha, what about you?
I have one more.
Okay.
It's a situation that I'll say up front, nothing like really happened, but in retrospect, I almost think I maybe dodged like being the victim of some violence.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
Is the cat clawing you or something?
No, I'm also doing some Subnautica on the side, and one of the squid crabs was assaulting my
your domicile,
my mini sub.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, so avoided some violence, thankfully.
I think anyway.
Okay.
So this guy, I very briefly dabbled in online dating. This was the only time that I met 2 people through online dating. This was the first person I met, and it made me like
very
hesitate
cautious
for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so this guy, I know he was like a good looking guy, but he had a pretty like blank profile, not a whole lot of information. And he had reached out to me and said he was in the Royal Oak area, wanted to like meet up or something after work, if possible. And I had revealed that I actually didn't live in that area. I was just driving out there for work, and that I like lived probably like 40 minutes away. So he's like, "Oh, actually, you know, like so do I." And I'm like, "Okay." So he suggests that we should go out for like coffee, dinner, or something in a movie. I'm like, "Okay, that sounds good." So he wants me to send him my address because he wants to come and pick me up. And I'm like, "I don't think so."
No, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. And I mean, like, honestly, at the time, this was probably a blessing that I lived with my parents, because that was probably the reason I didn't give him my address. But thinking about it now, and if I had all the things I know now, the reason I wouldn't have given him my address is that's stupid.
Yeah, I've had to. So when talking to a girl, and the only time I have ever asked for their address is if literally they are inviting me to their house. Like they have done that. Like, so yeah.
So anyway, so I did not give him my address, and he's kind of like offended by it a little bit, but continues with planning the date. So we agreed to meet at a Starbucks near a movie theater that was like 15 minutes from my parents' house. So I meet him at the Starbucks. He kind of starts talking to me about like what he's going to school for, and he was going to school for like English literature or something, and pretty much is like dogging on any type of reading that isn't like literature. So like Pulp Fiction and like modern fantasy and like everything that I read, like, he's implying essentially that like I'm stupid because I like this kind of stuff.
Garbage. Yeah.
Yep. And meanwhile, I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Buy my coffee, buy my dinner ticket. Well, our movie ticket. We'll wrap this up. Like, whatever. So we have coffee, and then the movie theater was like in like a bigger parking lot that the Starbucks was in. And he's like, "Oh, you know, like movie theater prices, like the snacks and stuff are so expensive. Let's go across the street to this Meijer to like go get snacks, stock up, and then we'll smuggle them into the theater." And I'm like, "Sure, we can do that." So I go to get in my car, and he's like, "Oh no, just get in my car. I'll take you over there." And I'm like, "No, that's all right. Like I'll just drive over there and get my stuff." And I was like, "You can get in the car with me. I'll drive you over there." And he's like, No, it's fine." So he drives his car over there. I drive my car over there, like right across the street. We get our stuff. We drive back to the movie theater. To go to the movies, it was kind of a weird time in the season. There weren't a whole lot of things out. He asks me what I want to see, and I'm like, "Honestly, dude, pick whatever you want." Because the only thing that's up here right now, I think there was like a horror movie and one of the Hunger Games movies that I was interested in. And I'm like, "Pick whatever you want. I don't care. You're paying for it." And so he's like, "Well, what do you want to see? What do you really want to see up here?" I'm like, "The only thing, like, if it's my pick, I want to see Hunger Games, but I'm not going to make you see Hunger Games." And he's like, "No, that's fine. We'll see Hunger Games." So we go in, we watch the movie. He complains about it the whole time because it's, you know, not his thing, and it's trash literature, and
it is beneath me.
To be fair, I really don't like Hunger Games, but that's a total different reason.
I totally understand. Like I didn't expect him to pick that, but I think like some of the other stuff that was out at the time was like Killing Them Softly, like just not good movies. Sure, nothing that you even would remember. So then after the movie, I'm kind of like, all right, well, I think I'm gonna go. And he's like, "Oh, so you don't want to go to dinner? And I'm like, no, I'm feeling a little tired. Like, I think I'm just going to go home. And he's like, oh, so, okay, fine. And so I go to get my car, and he's like, no hug. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of go to give this guy a hug, and he gives me like a really weird, like stiff, tight hug. And I'm kind of just like, okay. And it like lasted just a little bit too long. And I'm like, all right, I gotta go. So I get in my car and I leave. This guy sends me a text like through the dating app about an hour later, basically telling me that I'm stupid. Like just a series of things about how like I don't realize how lucky I am. I'm stupid. I make poor decisions. Yeah,
An
like all
incel, bro.
kind of, yeah. But
So
and so I just,
someone hurt him and he's taking it out on you and everyone is what I feel
I
like.
guess,
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. And I was just like, all right, man. I just like I blocked it. I didn't even answer it. But in retrospect, like so many red flags. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like I feel like I dodged being the victim of sexual violence with this dude.
I would caution, I guess, and say that's probably fairly accurate, or possible like physical abuse.
Yeah.
I have already pictured the character, and it's Handsome Jack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think that's a great answer.
I don't
Draco,
I haven't
Draco Malfoy.
I haven't played a lot of Borderlands, but that vibe is just feeling like it. Like he's just like he's super like silver tongue and awesome, but you cross him and you're out of here. Like,
yeah. And then I don't know. I
Yeah.
felt like the other thing that was like the weirdest is I don't think I have ever been called stupid in my entire life. Ever.
I got called all sorts of stupid, but you know that was
It's usually the opposite in my like bad dating experiences is that they think I'm talking down to them all the time, that I think I'm smarter than them. I've never like other than this experience with this guy been been told that I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, my brother, he's really smart. I believe in a lot of ways he's smarter than me. I'm very he's not as socially intelligent as I am, but that's just because he's just not as social. But he didn't call her boring, but the story is that he called her a girl boring that he tried to go on a date with, because at the time he was not into anime, and all she did is talk about is anime and wouldn't talk to him about anything else. Like, so he's just like, you know what? This is boring, I think is what he said. Like this is boring. Not you're boring.
Like I could just picture him saying that to her though.
He did. That was still, and she took it as I am boring. Also, another thing set up by my mom. So my mom is furious because Chauncey called her boring. So I have been perpetuating the myth that Chauncey called her boring, even though in truth, like I'm saying, he didn't really. But you know, that's the way she took it, and that's the way mom took it, and that's the way most other people took it. I know it's a little bit of a tangent, but my brother, because like he's not gonna come on here and talk about dating stories, no way. But when he broke up with his girlfriend because I didn't like her too much, she was very much like interested in sort of like the perfect relationship kind of stuff. Like let's spend every second together every day, and he had problems with her like being like, look, you want to go to bed at 10 o'clock, like I want to stay out and play magic cards with my friends on Friday nights like I've been doing for the most of my adult life. Like,
yeah,
you're not going to come over every weekend and we're going to compromise this, or you know, things are going to change and you're probably not in your favor. Is basically the way he worded it. So
yeah,
stuff like that. Stuff that was like really weird thing for me to see her. So like when he starts dating her, most of the time I am going through the divorce process. So like a large part of it is me not really focused on things outside of myself at that time. I'm trying to survive mentally. And
Right.
but I did notice things like we all went out to dinner and she orders appetizer, fine, whatever. He's paying for everything because she spends all her money all the time very quickly throughout every paycheck. Very terrible with money. And she orders an appetizer and dinner. But she specifically asked for the dinner to be boxed to go already. And I'm like, what? We're here eating dinner together as a group of friends. Like, what is happening? Like, so she eats her appetizer as her quote unquote dinner and takes more home because she would like to have that at home. So I was like, that feels like double dipping. And my parents were like, nah, see, everyone would just order an appetizer and just eat the dinner there. She's just saving it for later. Like, you wouldn't, if she ate half of it and took it home, would you have a problem? Like, no. But it feels like a principle thing. Like, it's very weird.
Yeah.
And then she would do stuff like try to buy like 2 dinners sometimes with him when other people weren't there, and and have one to take home. Like, she's just like
Well, I mean, that is a service that they have now at Olive Garden. But like, I've never
heard of
thought of anyone just like randomly doing that.
Yeah, but you think that would be a service that like, hey, let's all do this so we have more stuff at home. Not, hey, I want to buy 2 dinners so I have stuff at home. Not like, let's do this together. It was like like, it was very weird. But yeah, and then when I had to quickly move out of my house because of stuff was happening, instead of helping, she went to, I think it was specifically a cousin's friend's kid's birthday party instead. And John's like had round up some friends of now mine, but friends of his to help us move out quickly because I didn't know anybody in Dayton. I was very isolated in Dayton. And he was like, hey, there's this really good steak place that's like about an hour south of us called the River. It's like actually on the Ohio River. And you go to and it's got super good steaks. Everyone says it's the best in the world. I don't know. I'm not a big steak fan. So like they're good, but like it's steak. It's cool. Like okay. So he offers to take everyone out to dinner for helping me out, his friends. And I can't go cuz I'm there with the kids. So she's like, "So when are we going?" And he's like, "You didn't help. So you're not going." Like like, I don't think you understood the situation. I'm buying people dinner who like pseudo like, hey, thank you for helping move, not, you know. So yeah, I didn't like her. Like, she was weird. She's very, very self-focused, very selfish, very immature. So I don't know. I don't think we have to rate that one because that's not me. That's my brother, and that's not a date. That's a relationship.
Yeah.
So one other one I have. This is a weird one because things were going very well to begin with, and then, so we did have one date. So what we matched. Obviously for me it's all online stuff. Like, it's very rare for me meet someone in person for me because my job within a family business. I mean, I'm not gonna find anyone. Like, I've talked to one girl and tried to ask her out on a job site, but we were there over a period of months and it took a long time to sort of see the same person to get a rapport going. It's just not easy. Anyways, so I have to meet people online. So I matched with this girl. She's a streamer. She streams on Twitch. Obviously gamer, that kind of stuff. But she makes it kind of clear from the beginning, and I understand, but it's not what I'm looking for. She's looking for something casual. I am not. Like, I'm not a looking for casual kind of person. So but we still talk because she likes me. Flirt and stuff. It's going really well for good month and a half. We meet up. We have like a date at an Olive Garden near her place, Upper Columbus, and it's like 4 hours at this Olive Garden just chatting the whole time. Uh, like she gives me a hug, we go apart, and you know, like driving home, I'm feeling really good about this date. It feels like something awesome. And then I was like, "Hey, can we meet again?" And she's literally like, "No, I don't. Nothing. Like I told you this was casual. You don't seem to want to take it that way. I'm out." I'm like, "Oh, I what?" Like, okay. She then continues to message me every once in a while over a period of the next 2 years. The last time I heard from her was last September. Um, and the time before that was the most volatile, I will say. Um, where her and I are messaging again. It's sort of heading down the same way, and I don't really say anything about our relationship or that kind of stuff. But I have been talking about moving out of my parents' house every once in a while for a while when I get the funds to do that kind of stuff. And she's talking about she wants to move closer to her family in Upper, I don't know, some place above Dayton, which is exactly where my girls live. Like literally, like the town next to them. And I was like, "Oh, it's a really cool area," because I was actually thinking about doing that myself. And she's like, "No, no, 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 you're not gonna move where I'm gonna move." And I'm like, "I didn't say I was. I said I was considering that area myself already beforehand, so that I could be closer to my daughters. Like if I leave this job, which I'm not. I'm not leaving my family job. It's not in the cards now, but I was considering it then." And I was just like, "I don't understand." And she's literally like, "Never speak to me again." And like you're, what is this? Like, I think her exact words was, "I don't need your codependent bullshit." And I was just like, what? What? Hmm? Okay. Um,
Rejection.
but
Very nice.
but I didn't try to do any. I literally said, "Oh, that's a cool area." I was thinking about that like I didn't suggest that I do that. I didn't like I was just like making conversation because that's where my close to where my girls live with their mom. And I was like, I wouldn't have to drive as much. That'd be kind of cool, you know. But she
Yeah.
took that as me trying to move there with her, and she's like, "We're not there." And I'm like, and I was like, "I know we're not. I wasn't saying we were. What is going on?" Like, so yeah. And then she messaged me again, like while I was at the Flesh and Blood tournament, like something about a possum died in her heating system, and I was just like, "Oh, that's terrible." Continue to play cards at major card event. Like I just like it's the last. Yeah, I haven't talked to her since, but every once in a while she'll still message me. So it might come up
You got a
again.
new hat.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a weird one. She's very volatile.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I don't know for her. When you were first describing her, it made me think of 500 Days of Summer. But then the fact that she keeps like messaging you
Mm-hmm. See, I have this problem where I have
is weird.
a couple women who will just message me out of the blue sometimes that are like, "I'm not looking for a relationship, but I want to talk to you." And I'm like, Ace, you remember the one that was like a coworker of mine from like ages ago, right? I've talked about that. Or she was just like, "Hey bud, how you doing?" I'm like, "I have never spoken to you in messages ever. I know who you are. We work together, but like, what is up?" Like, "Oh, I really don't like my boyfriend, blah 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 blah." Okay. So what's happening here? And then she'll talk to me till like 3 a.m. and then nothing for months. And then, "Hey, I found a new job, blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, what's going on?" I'm like,
Um, so I'd say for arm's length girl,
Yeah.
I'd say Ling from Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Wee wee wee.
Specifically the scene where she's like, "Oh, but I don't want you to think I'm a slut,
Take me.
but I've never
No.
been so ready, so in the mood for love.
Yeah, rips her shirt
But
off.
my father just died."
Yeah, just closes it back up. Yeah, she was very like in the first time we were talking, she was very like sexually flirtatious to begin with, and I was just like, I didn't know how to handle that because again, not my strong suit in that aspect. So like, I was just like, okay, but then she was just immediately like, no, and I was like, all right, fine, I didn't. So yeah, I get it. Ling from Kung Pao. All right, I can see that. Yes, but no. But yes, but no. But
I
stay away
just
from
broke
me.
a thermometer in my hand. Ripped in my hand.
How about Isabella in Dragon Age 2, who is also pretty much just wants a sexual relationship with Hawk?
Is that the pirate girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one I romanced, and she was like, "All right, I'm done." I'm like, "Oh, oh, ow, ooh, that hurts."
But then she comes back.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, you remember that fling? You left me. Oh boy. Yeah, those are probably the notable ones. Like I've been ghosted by people out of nowhere a couple times, but they're not really super notable. Like the younger girl we talked about a couple weeks ago, she messaged me again, but then I was like, "Hey, look, it's really hard to get to know each other when we're not talking. So, like, do you want to meet up somewhere?" And she said, "Absolutely yes." And then that's the last I heard from her again. I was like, "My give up, my give up." So, uh, then there was one of the worst ones I would say, like feelings wise, wasn't even a bad date. It was the afterwards. So like we just went out to Olive Garden is like my move here in Chillicothe because it's literally the best restaurant here as far as like fanciness goes, and it's not really that
Italian
expensive.
Applebee's.
It's just like not even that expensive. So like people like I literally asked people out to Olive Garden and be like, no, that's too expensive. You can't do that. And I'm like, it's just Olive Garden. It's like $25 for the both of us usually. Like, that's not a lot. Anyways, um, so like this girl, we went out to Applebee's. She's super into Dragon Ball Z. So like we're talking about Dragon Ball Z. It's like it's one of the animes I can actually talk about. Like so like we're awesome. She's talking about her dad and she really likes this and I was just it was like literally my second date after the divorce too. So like I wasn't really that practiced because I've never dated as an adult because high school sweethearts, right? So kind of a difficult thing. And then it wasn't even the date. It wasn't even that bad. She's like, yeah, like we had a good time. So I walk her to her car and I walk to my car and I drive off. The next day, she says the exact words, word for word, what my ex-wife told me when she was leaving me. And I was just like, oh, I can't.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, like, so what she ended up saying was like, look, I think you're a really great guy, but you're just not the guy for me. And I'm like, that doesn't make me feel like a great guy. Like, I don't understand. Like,
You're a great
both.
friend.
Well, so actually, I was so mad about that. Eventually, that was like my tagline on part of my dating profiles. It was just like, at the end of it, it's like, I'm a great guy, just apparently not the good enough guy for you. Was like, that was very childish and very angry of me to put that on a dating profile. But
you've changed it since then, right? Please tell me you have.
yes, I have. I have now replaced it with, you're gonna love this one, Ace, Rathalos Seeking Rathian, because I just don't
You
care.
told me about that one.
Yeah, I just don't care anymore. Because like, oh man. And welcome, good friend preacher. Thank you for tuning in.
I will say that I have given that particular speech to more than one person before, and I feel like the reason it comes from a place of it's the most polite way I can say I'm just not that into you, man. And like there's not really any reason for it. Like there's no reason that I'm not into you. I'm just not into you. And
yeah,
some guys don't take that very well. So
the only reason why I think I don't take that well is because those were the lines that ended my marriage. Like,
no. I mean, like some guys don't handle the "I'm just not into you"
oh sure,
feedback.
Yeah.
So then, like we have been conditioned, right?
Abs.
Yeah, so we're just conditioned to like automatically try to soften the blow with like, hey, like it's not you.
It's not you, it's me, yeah. Which people know that too. No, it was just I normally don't have a problem because like I've had someone say like, look, I'm just not feeling it or whatever. That's fine. Like that's fine. But like the fact that that's what the ex-wife said, and I was just like,
yeah.
Now, granted, she's terrible. I've talked to you guys about how terrible she is at times. Like I had the rant about did I tell you about the soccer thing?
Yes.
Yeah, so the soccer thing was like terrible. It's like, well, they have to be on Saturdays. It's like Saturdays are my thing. Like I need to have them on, like this is what we agreed on. Why do you keep trying to schedule stuff on the weekends? And then she essentially trying to gaslight me into doing whatever she wants to do, and I'm just like, no, I'll talk to the kids. Well, why are you trying to manipulate the kids? I'm just trying to have a conversation with my kids. Like I want to see what they want to do, what we can do about it. Like it was a trip.
Right.
And that was 2 weeks ago, I think that happened. Yeah, it was the week before you came on, before you the Monster Hunter week. So you were off that week. So I don't know, but yeah, like even though it wasn't a good relationship, it ending with those words and then hearing that exactly like verbatim from someone, I was just like, oh, right in the heart.
The nerve has been struck.
Yeah. So like when she said that, I was in the back seat because like that's normally what happens when we're driving around for work.
That's like your Kakarot and your Broly.
Mm-hmm. It really is just those words because like they hurt. And my brother and my dad are in the front seats, right? So the dad's driving, Chauncey's passenger seat. It's just normal thing for us because we all three go to job sites usually and out to lunch and yada yada. So we're heading to lunch, and I'm in the back seat. And I get that text, and I just drop my phone. I'm just like, like, no, I can't. And they're like, what happened? I dropped my phone. That's all I said. So we get to the restaurant, and I'm dead silent the whole time. And they're just like, what happened? And I'm like, look, I know you guys say that the ex-wife was terrible, but I really don't like hearing you're a great guy, just not the guy for me. And that's what she said, and like that's what this girl just told me from the date I had last Friday. Like like it's just not cool. Oh yeah, I like how Preacher's like, it was a text. Yeah, it was a text over the dating app. We'd only had one date. Like, I don't know. I've talked to very few girls with like phone call because of this.
So Preacher, stuff. pretty cool Uber driver you got there.
Uber driver? I didn't look.
He made a post on Twitter.
Oh. I didn't
Had a
see
pretty
that.
cool Uber driver.
Okay. So, Sasha, do you have any more, or are you done?
I'm just about done.
Okay.
I don't have any other notable ones.
Yeah. I mean, most of my other ones are just me being ghosted, which isn't very interesting. Just makes me aggravated. So, at this point, I'm at the same point that I was the last 3 times I got ghosted was I don't care. And then the girl messages me and then gets to and then I'm like, hey, how's it going? Seems kind of cool. And then they ghost me. I'm like, why did I fall for it again? Why did I try to talk to them? Yeah, that was bad dating stories. Like, I can't. Yeah, that's probably all I have. I've been ghosted by obviously it's a pet peeve for me to keep bringing it up, but it's been a lot. It's been a lot. Like, it happened within a month recently 3 times. So, yeah. Next week I think is does that actually fall on the June? I think it does.
I think it's quiz.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is quiz day. So, I don't have the days yet, but I have been thinking about them. So I will just spit them out and tell you guys. Huh? Yeah. Years, not days. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if we're going days, I'm definitely gonna be screwed.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it on the phone so people don't hear typing. But sorry. 1996 is the first
Did 1996 last time?
Did we? Sorry, we did. You're right. It's a good year though. That's why I keep thinking about it. Let's do 97 then. 1997. Whoa! I wrote that down.
Just start at the 2000s and go from there.
2004. 2009. Then again, these are off the top of my head. So if I repeat literally between the 2 years, 2 weeks, I'm sorry, months, I'm sorry. 2013. We didn't do that last time, did we? I think we did 14.
We did 16 last time.
Okay. And then another 2018. I know we've done 2018 quite a bit, but we'll do another 2018.
Also, if we want to, well, we should postpone the game show a week.
Oh?
Because I will be at a Supernatural convention in Chicago next week.
Oh, fun.
Cool. So yeah, we could.
So I might get to see the Padalecki and the Ackles, and just maybe the Collins. Misha Collins played Castiel. You didn't get far enough in the show. Watch the show.
What show?
Watch the whole Supernatural.
No. Every time I watch that show, I get angry at how terrible they do the monster.
Yeah, it gets real biblical in season 3.
Just ignore it,
dude.
Just ignore it and watch it.
At the time,
they drop.
Put your D&D brain aside.
It's not part of it's D&D, but they did the Wendigo so bad, and I know,
but there's no real monsters for several seasons. They're just fighting demons and angels.
Okay. I mean, but doesn't that kind of make it isn't that what, I don't know, the Doctor Who, isn't that a lot of what they've been fighting too?
I don't.
There's also werewolves and vampires.
Those are boring. Werewolves and vampires, everyone does those. No, I think
You're boring.
that's mean, Ace. Now conversely, I really liked, and
We'll watch anime. We'll watch Supernatural.
you know what I was watching this week, and I have no regrets for it. I was watching the Rocky movies because
Because of the Horror Virgin podcast.
because of the Horror Virgin podcast where he was like, I'm never watching Rocky because I'm not interested. I was like, screw you. They're amazing. And I'm going to watch all of them. And I bought them on Vudu and I have watched all 6 Rockies.
Who was that? That said that?
Todd Awesome. He was like, I am not interested in watching Rocky. I am not into boxing. And both Mikey and I almost said Paige. Is it Paige? It's Paige.
Yeah, Paige.
I get her confused with the old host sometimes. We're both like, it's a great movie, especially Rocky 1. Just go watch it. It's not about boxing. Like,
it's because they didn't like the movie Creed, so they kept talking about Creed instead, and then I got them on Rocky.
Creed, and I did watch the first Creed. I have yet to watch the second Creed, and it's one I have never seen. So I was actually considering watching that tonight. Is Creed 2.
I actually am thinking about watching Creed because of the podcast. I really didn't have any interest ever in watching it, but
yeah, I still need to watch both of them.
It is good. It is so good. There's only one Rocky movie, which I would consider the Creeds also Rocky movies. There's only one Rocky movie that doesn't really feel good, but it does in certain parts, and that's Rocky 5, where he's basically the big climactic fight as a street brawl, and it's just like, this is not Rocky, but like the character development in 5 is so good that I forgot. Like, it just I literally walked out after watching, I think it was Rocky 2, walked out in the living room, and my mom and dad were watching a movie, and I was like, they just don't make movies like they used to anymore, do they? And my dad was like, what did you watch? I was like, Rocky. And he's like, yeah, they just don't.
I have some interest in seeing Top Gun Maverick, another 80s movie.
Yeah, I do too. Ish. It looks, I've seen a lot about it. I'm super interested in seeing the Jurassic Park movie for obvious reasons that I just love Jurassic Park. But I'm normally not a person who gets like a giant like burger or something. I'm very much like a plain cheeseburger kind of guy. But like we had Emery's graduation yesterday, and the dinner there for the graduation was like, it wasn't a lot. Essentially there was no meat whatsoever because it's a nature preschool. So like most of them are vegetarians and vegans and stuff. So on my plate was strawberries and oranges.
Delicious.
Which they're good.
I was going to guess berries and twigs, so I got half of it right.
Yeah.
I've been getting into plant-based stuff lately.
It's not all bad.
I've tried cauliflower wings, and they're pretty decent.
I like black bean burgers. Black bean burgers can be decent. But they're not as good as a hamburger. I'll tell you that. They're just not.
Depends on where you're getting the hamburger from.
Fair. I mean, yeah, it's better than McDonald's.
I will 100% say that I like the taste of an Impossible Whopper better than a regular Whopper.
I can't agree there, but yeah. But yes, there are certain things. Anyways, I went to Hardee's, which I don't go to very often. You guys have Hardee's, right? Because it's called something else.
Yeah.
In other areas.
Carl's Jr. But yeah, we have Hardee's up here.
I don't think we have either of those in Michigan. If we do, they're not in the Metro Detroit area.
I gotcha. So I was hungry because that's all I had. And they have been advertising, at least on TV, there is this Jurassic Park themed hamburger that they have. So I was like, screw it. The girls are playing their Switches in the car. I'll run in because they're hungry too. I'll run in. I'll get a burger for myself. They just want chips because they're kids and they want junk food sometimes. So, and I couldn't. There's no way I could get them to eat Hardee's or Roller Dogs because they've never had Hardee's and they're not. Emery doesn't even like hot dogs. So I went in and I got this burger. And I was just like, I just want the burger. I just want to try it. I didn't really read what was on it. But my goodness, this was a burger. It had barbecue, honey mustard, roast beef, a burger patty, like 3 slices of cheese. It had 2 fried onion rings on it and a breaded chicken patty. It was massive. I was like, what did I get?
That sounds like somebody took 2 different sandwiches from Arby's and put them together.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it. I really liked it. Because I was like, you know what? This is for trying to make me just eat strawberries.
I just feel like they should serve baby aspirin with a burger like that.
Oh man!
Or especially going back in time when KFC did the double down sandwich. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I vaguely remember it.
2 big chicken tenderloins, slice of cheese, sauce, lettuce, and I think that was it. So essentially, the 2 big tenderloins are like your bread.
Fun.
Yes. I do remember that, yeah.
Like, talk about unhealthy. I think it like triple exceeded all your daily allowances of everything. Like,
yeah.
Keep in mind, I was definitely a chubbier kid when that was around, and even then I was still like, ugh.
Yeah, no.
That does not seem right.
These days, for me, it's literally one of the girls' favorite is Burger King. So I go in there and it's like, I get a Whopper with cheese, but it's literally ketchup and cheese. That's it. I don't want anything else on it because I don't want all the other like soggy lettuce and another kind of thing. I literally just get cheeseburgers nowadays. Like literally cheeseburger with ketchup and that's it. Like, so I was stepping outside of my comfort zone to get this Dino Burger or whatever they called it. I was just like, I liked it, but I'm not getting it again. It was too much.
Whenever I get a sub from Cousins, I often forget, but I need to remind myself to ask them to hold the onions because they just put too much onions on, and then the onions like break apart. So then like I take a bite and it's like I have spaghetti noodle onions coming out of my sandwich, and like,
yeah,
I don't like having something wet and slimy that also has like mayonnaise and or mustard coming in, like slapping me in the face and shit while I'm eating.
Yeah. So Chauncey really likes the Bacon King, and it typically has mayonnaise on it, and he will barf if there's mayonnaise on there. Like he cannot stand it. So every time we go there, we have this system where we go around the drive-thru. It's like a big U because you go into the parking lot and then you have to go through the drive-thru. We pull off into the parking lot as he thoroughly checks his sandwich, and then he has to walk in if they screwed up. Like we have developed a system, a fail-safe system, so he does not get sick eating Burger King. Because it's like the only place
has an aversion to mayo.
Yes, very very high aversion. I mean, I don't know. It's not part of his lactose intolerance, which has got really bad lately. Like he's had to start taking Lactaid for it. And actually, I've had problems lately too with lactose, but which is traditionally a very Native American trait for us. Unfortunately, is lactose intolerance.
Oh
yeah,
my fiance. Yeah.
So,
oh my god, earlier this week.
Yeah.
Because she's pregnant, she wanted me to stop for some food, so I stopped at Quick Trip, and got us both a penne, a 5 cheese penne thing from there, like
Oh
a
no.
quick take home meal type thing.
Yeah.
Which no, like normally she can handle like mac and cheese and stuff and pasta like that. Um, I make mine and I add like a little bit of mozzarella that we have at home to the top, just to like melt it over the top because all the cheese that was in there had already like melted and blended together with the rest of it.
Sure.
Um,
So you want to actually taste the
the
cheese?
yeah, the smaller shredded bag of cheese that I had thought about breaking apart and uh putting some on. She just dumps the entire thing on, and I like look at her like, "What are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And it fully came around to her later, and I was like, "Well, you sabotaged yourself. Like,
could be
did you
the
not see the look that I gave you when you dumped the entire rest of the bag on top of your
Oh
pasta?"
man, pregnancy makes you crave cheese like milk so bad.
Yeah, I'd say
I
pregnancy brain does some crazy things to you.
well,
Oh,
so
I'll have to.
I have IBS, so I generally avoid cheese unless I really just would like to punish myself in some way. But when I got pregnant, it was like that's all I wanted. My body was like, "It, you will eat the cheese. It doesn't matter what's gonna happen. Eat the cheese."
Yeah, yeah. There, like I said, when my ex was pregnant with my first daughter, her thing was gummy worms or sour worms or whatever. So like every day I was walking to that gas station, picking up a bag of sour gummies.
I have 2 pictures that I'll send to the planning chat because we went to sushi today and there were some hijinks that ensued today with cravings.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That sounds interesting and fun. But yes, Ace, I have had Supernatural on my radar for a while. It's just I really want to get through the Rocky stuff, and then also I impulse purchased this movie on Vudu. This is my problem lately is I've been buying things on Vudu because like I really like movies and I like the fact that they are in Ultra HD, which my TV can do. So I'm just like, yes. Yes. The Northman that recently came out, I really wanted to see that, so I was just like I just bought it. I'm going to see that.
Yeah. Kenobi just came out the other day. I watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And then Stranger Things came out yesterday and I already finished it.
I was on that Star Wars kick I was talking about in the chat, and I watched episodes 1, 2, and 3, and then I was like, "Oh, Bad Batch! I'm gonna watch that." And then like people were like, "No, you got to see some of the Clone Wars episodes that talk about the Bad Batch." And I watched like the first 10 episodes of the Clone Wars, and I kind of fizzled out because I was already like, "That's not happened. This doesn't make sense."
Something interesting to note too, because we talked about it in our friend circle with both those shows coming out. Before Stranger Things, they put like a little disclaimer, stating in light of recent events in Texas, viewers may find some of the opening scenes or scenes in the show disturbing.
Oh, okay.
Because earlier in her life, Elle was a kid that was experimented on, and there were other kids, as we find out too.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sort of spoilers for Kenobi, but there is a similar thing that happens with the beginning where they actually didn't put any disclaimer, which I didn't even think of at the time, but I was like, I'd say like the Kenobi scene debatably could have used it more, just context wise.
Well, I don't see Disney being the company that would do that.
I mean, they're they're also not pro LGBTQ.
No.
Aside from what some Florida politicians might have you believing.
Sure. Yeah. But I'm just. Yeah. I just don't see Disney doing something like that. They're just like, come watch it. It's Star Wars. Give us money. Like that's Disney's.
Yeah, I know.
That's Disney's thing. But I figured out that I'm just not gonna watch the rest of Clone Wars. I'm just not. I'm just gonna go back to Bad Batch. I'm gonna finish that, and then I'm gonna watch the movies up until
Boo on you.
Kenobi.
Like especially the last season of the Clone Wars 3D animated show. Like
there's so many inconsistencies.
So
it makes me angry. Like
that's been Star Wars since the beginning. Dude.
Not if you just watch the movies like I usually did. like he's like, General Kenobi, nice to meet you again. I'm like, literally, I just watched episode 3. He says it's the first time they've ever met. Like, literally, that is a line. Nice to finally meet you, General Kenobi. And it's like, is literally, they say that in the movie that happens after the show. And it's like, I get it. The show came after the movies, so they forgot or something. Like,
I think he says that to Anakin. Because to Obi-Wan, he says the negotiator.
Oh, I'm talking about where he fights him when he actually pulls out, like his arms separate and he's got the 4 lightsabers in episode 3. Tracks him down. They find him on the planet in episode 3. I literally just watched this like a week ago. Anakin has no contact.
Inconsistency in the own movie. Because they already met earlier in the movie. So don't be dragging the Clone Wars show for inconsistencies.
No.
That's something that happened in the movie.
Grievous? General Grievous.
You said when
Obi-Wan meets Grievous.
Utapau.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have their battle. You said that's like the first time he says they meet them?
Yeah.
They meet each other?
Yeah.
They met earlier in the movie, like at the beginning of the movie. On his ship. Face to face. With the Chancellor. So if that's the case, then there's an inconsistency.
I
in the
remember
movie.
this happening in the show, because it happened in the show. They capture them on a ship and they bring them to the bridge. What happens in the very first? It has to be in the very beginning of episode 3.
I think you have to rewatch the movie and the show. Get your timeline straight.
It also surprised me that was in the middle of the movie. I always felt that was towards the end. It is not. It is straight up in the middle of the movie. I looked when Kenobi fights Grievous.
Yeah, I mean the last third is Order 66 and Vader.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I watched a lot of Star Wars too. So
and ridiculous no's instead of just agonized screaming.
Well, yeah. There's also a challenge. I can't watch a lot of Star Wars stuff because Disney Plus is Chauncey's account, and that's not on my stuff in here. So I have to go out into the living room, and it has to not be occupied, which is, normally occupied. So to watch, because my dad's like, I don't want to. I was like, it's Star Wars. I don't want to watch a cartoon. It's Star Wars. It's a cartoon.
You'll just have to go out like a little gremlin in the night and watch it when everyone's asleep.
That's kind of what I have to do. Yes, it's exactly what I have to do. I come out about 11:30 sometimes, and I'm like, all right, we're going to watch. And then I watch like 15 minutes, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sleepy.
Star Wars.
So,
you're like Jabba's little imp creature thing that he has.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's what I've been watching, and you should watch Creed. It's good. Creed is
Mm-hmm.
just as good as a lot of the Rocky. I still put Rocky 1 on the top, but they're all fantastic. Minus number 5. Minus number 5. Number 5 is okay,
Mm-hmm.
but Creed is fantastic. I forgot a lot of stuff that happened in Creed too because I only watched it once. Creed also. I haven't seen Creed 2 yet. So the first Creed, I forgot a lot of what happens in it, and I was just like, dang, this gets emotional, especially after watching the first 6 Rockies. Because
Yeah.
Now, how many of the Rocky movies have you guys seen?
I've seen, I think, up to 4. Is 4 the one with Dolph Lundgren? Yeah. That's the last one I've seen.
So, okay. So 5, I don't think is 5 is as mediocre as it is. You can't skip it because there's a lot of character building for Rocky and his son in that one. Like his son has a very active role in that one. And
is that Rocky Balboa or
no,
is
that
it
is
actually called Rocky 5?
It's actually called Rocky 5. It's weird.
I don't think I've seen that
It's
one.
weird because it's not like a big title fight like in all the other Rockies. It's literally him trying to train someone and that person being like just a meathead and an idiot, and it's just it's weird. But Rocky Balboa is a lot about his relationship with his son, and also the fact that he is retired and no longer fighting, and they do this simulation fight between him, kind of like death battle kind of thing. Like they pull up his stats and they put him against the reigning current champion, and he's like in his 50s, like Rocky is, and the simulation has Rocky win, and the champion and his team are like, you need to, you know, yeah, like that's bull crap, and it's all this tension between the champion and Rocky being like, oh, I still got fight in me. I still got something in the basement, is what he says. Like I gotta get it out. Like, so it's really good though. Like Rocky, Rocky Balboa is what that one's called, which is Rocky 6.
Yeah, I mean the speech that he gives to his son in that movie is like regarded as one of, it's often on a lot of like the top dramatic movie moments.
Oh yeah, in the street when he gives it to a speech to him in the street. Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, yeah. No, it's getting me emotional thinking about it. I love the Rocky movies. I always forget about them too because it's like, what are your favorite movies? I never mention them, but then like that Horror Virgin episode awakened something in me that I was like, I need to watch these, and I need to justify that he is wrong and that he needs to watch these.
now Fort's gonna get into boxing, and then he's gonna be on the next creator clash against Todd.
You know what? If that gets me in shape, I'll do it. Like if I could find the time to train like that. Like I was watching the Rocky movies being like, damn, that guy's fit. I need to start doing some of this stuff. Like,
I just need to run through the Alaskan wilderness and chop down trees.
It'll work if you do it enough. But now you gotta, when you're my weight, you gotta work up to that. You cannot just start out going like that. You will hurt yourself. I actually had a doctor tell me that. Like, I don't want you running. I want you walking. And then when you're good enough, you can run. I was like, oh, okay. Oof. When your doctor's twice your size, you still feel the pain of that statement. Anyways, we had a long one today. Sorry, we got rambling about movies and stuff. But yeah, originally Dating Stories. I guess we will postpone if you're not here next week. That makes sense. Sasha, you and I will think of something. Not sure if we have enough to do the Newsweek stuff, although a lot of Blizzard stuff came up again. Oh, I wanted to correct. We talked about this on the news show when you were here, Sasha. There was a correction. So remember that chart we talked about?
Yes.
The Blizzard like chart. That was confirmed to not be something the developers used by the developers.
Oh.
That was something that corporate made up to sort of sell the characters higher up. So it was like something middle management came up with to sort of like do for like to explain the characters of Overwatch. That was not a development tool. Because like when we were talking about that, I was very like, that doesn't make sense. Like the developers were very, and like literally one of the developers who came out was I don't remember her name, but she was a woman who had been one of the artists for Overwatch, and she was like, the reason why we have these this diverse character and this diverse character because those people work here. We have those people, which is exactly we were saying that like we should have happened. And I was like, I don't know if we can get all those people, but apparently they have all those most of those people or something. So
well, that's good news.
yeah, apparently that was a debunked by, I wish I could find the tweet, honestly. I tried to when I talked to Ace about it the other day and I just couldn't go back, and Twitter's just a giant pool of stuff. Like I should have saved it is what I should have done, but I didn't think about it. But yeah. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining tonight. I'll stop extending under random things I'm talking about. So this is Fortune. You can catch us at Hunters Hub Pod on Twitter. Also here on Twitch. Same name. And then be sure to join the Discord where you can find Sasha and all of us. And then, of course, follow at Ace Badger Gaming on Twitter for Ace himself and see some other things. He's been posting to play some Monster Hunter stuff with people lately. In fact, we got to play together once last week, or was it over the weekend? It was during the week or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was like Sunday or Monday.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And my friend Adrian popped in.
Yeah, which was really awkward because you immediately had to leave, and me and Adrian were like, "So, who are you, and how's it going?"
Yeah,
that was fun.
we had Andrea's mom coming in with dog to drop off because we had the next day to bring her to the vet.
Yeah, I mean there was a couple interruptions there that were awkward too. Not just that one, but yeah, because it's like But pregnant lady, things happen. You gotta handle them. That's for sure.
Well, it wasn't mainly that. It was I had to then get one of the kennels out of the shed, and then the two puppies being puppies and sort of being asshole puppies. Don't stay within the yard if you don't keep a tight watch over them. So literally in the span of like 15 seconds from me bringing the kennel inside to her mom walking outside, they had slipped out behind the garage and cut across to some neighbors' yards. So we had to wrangle them back.
I could tell you were just drinking water, pups. You best not do that again. She drinks too much too fast. So she yaks it up. All right. Well, I guess we'll call it a night then. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. Sasha and I, and we'll maybe try to get someone. I don't know. We did just Ace and I, and that worked out pretty well. So maybe we might just do a Sasha and I episode. We'll see. Usually better to get someone in, but it's been so hard to get people in lately. I don't know what it is. All right. Well, later, folks.